Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. This will be for The Last of Us, Season 1, Episode 4, Please Hold My Hand. The recap, breakdown, and review commentary, and we want to get your questions and comments in. So if you want to get your voice in the show, please call in at 781-990-8509. And you can use that number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So whenever you're watching this show, even on off hours, you can call in at 781-990-8509. I also already see we have a few messages we're going to get to in a little bit, but I'm not alone on this Last of Us adventure. I have with me, I hate to use the word expert, but I have with me my game player, Joe Dirty Locks here tonight. What's going on, Joe?
Hey, not much.
So
not much at all.
Not much. So this was an interesting episode of The Last of Us. For those of you that are saying it felt kind of short, before we go any further on it, good quality or not, whether we're going to break this apart and like this episode, if it's my favorite or least favorite of the season, we'll get into that in a minute. But yes, it felt very short. I know what they were doing the moment they were splitting it at the obvious sort of cliffhanger moment of the story, but the episode itself did feel like it was a little short on content. I don't know how you felt, Joe.
I not only felt it was short, but I felt it was slow.
Yeah, it was kind of a slow. You had hyped up last week going into this week that this week was going to be.
I was hoping for so much more.
An exciting episode.
And I started to get it somewhere around 20 minutes in, and then it just kind of 30 minutes in. I don't know. I really didn't like any of the shit with Kathleen.
Yeah. Did you know that Kathleen was Kathleen's number one guy was one of the voice actors for the game?
Yep. His name in the show is Perry, and it's Tommy on the in the game.
Oh, he does the voice of Joel's brother.
Yep.
But did anyone see Pedro Pascal on SNL? Yes, I did. I actually sent Joe the Mario clip. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it, but it was pretty funny. I did see him a little bit. I'm not the biggest SNL fan of these days, but I do think Pedro, from what I saw, was very good on the show. He seems to be a very funny guy. I don't think he picks the best comedies to do when he chooses comedies, but he does have some good comedic timing. It's not that I didn't like this episode. This was definitely my least favorite of the four. It felt a little slow, and it felt like it wasn't even just half of a story. It was a half of a full episode that they padded out because they wanted to make this two episodes. These two episodes in Kansas City. And I don't know. I'm not going to say I didn't like it, but it just felt thin. This was a thin episode. It was a very thin episode, Joe.
Yes, it was.
And what's up? We got Nola Boy. Someone get the vodka. Oh, yeah, we're going to drink. This is a drinking night.
It was a relationship building episode, though,
yeah,
right?
In fairness, we haven't had many moments yet where we're just Joel and Ellie episodes. And this episode, I guess, was supposed to be establishing more what their dynamic is.
Right, and you got to remember, too, they're on the road now from Boston to where they end up, Kansas City. That's a long fucking time. That's a lot of days, a lot of nights. Their relationship is going to change over time, right?
And I'm not saying
we haven't seen any of that.
This is one of those episodes of a television show that I feel like on a rewatch won't bother me as much. Because I'll immediately get the second half of this, and it will really sort of under the skin give me more texture and more relatability between the two characters. And I wait to use this show like character building episode or something, but you're right. I mean, this episode was more about building their dynamic more, but in a week-to-week situation where you're waiting for it, this wasn't as satisfying as I felt after the last 3 weeks watching an episode of television. This was like, oh, okay, next scene. I felt like I needed 2 or 3 more bigger scenes, maybe even one much bigger action set piece of some point. But maybe hopefully we'll get the payoff next week, Joe.
I feel like that original fight where they kill the 3 guys when they crash through the laundromat.
Yes.
That should have been bigger.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been more than 3 people doing a. It should have been bigger. It should have been more.
And it's Phil's World. It's Phil's World. Party time. Excellent. It's Sunday night. It's time for Phil's Phil's World. Join me and my excellent host, Garth. Rakes, great to see Rakes in the live chat. Hope he's raking all the pots. We got Sonic says, love the episode short. I like this episode. I've liked every episode so far. I thought this did a good job for their chemistry. And maybe this is a good thing. I'm just saying this episode left me wanting. Where the first 3 episodes filled all my buttons for the story that the individual episode was trying to tell. This left me wanting some. And perhaps that's intentional. They wanted to make me feel that way. I always like to throw that out there because of the lead into next week, but I'm not as, oh my God, what's going to happen? It's more, oh God, I got to wait till next week to see the closure of this situation. Like, give me a 2-hour episode tonight or something.
Yeah, no, this whole episode felt to me much more, everything with Kathleen just felt off. It just all felt weird. Like, I don't want that perspective.
Was that a new character?
Yes.
So this was everything that we got in Kansas City I'm putting together from some of the people in the live chat.
Well, no. The ambush, both sides.
It happened in Pittsburgh in the game, correct?
Yeah, I was thinking Philadelphia, but yeah, Pittsburgh.
I feel like Shane from Weeds. I'm like, we need to go to Pittsburgh.
And like I said, it should have been a little bit bigger of an ambush scene, a little bit more fighting and stuff.
So this
and that could have filled out the extra minutes and gave us more action, things like that. But
so this is the first episode.
All that stuff, like that secondary shit with Kathleen and the doctor in the cell and going to see the breathing floor or whatever the fuck, all that's new for TV. And I gotta say, like, to me, it all just felt fucking like, it felt forced. It was like, here's your new bad guy. Look, she's being bad. And like everything out of her mouth, I'm just sitting there thinking, like, really? There's 50 people around her, and she's like, she sent her son out to do ambushes on the street, and now she's like, wah.
He's dead. In fairness to Joe, you've been very high on it for these first 3 weeks, so it's what's high has to. They're gonna touch. They're gonna touch you.
Like I feel it.
Exactly. They're gonna touch you strong. They're gonna hurt you strong. But it's not that you didn't necessarily like this episode. You felt this episode felt a little forced for you. Up
until the ambush started playing out, right? And Joel gets his second shot off of some shit. He drops one of them. And the dude yells out, fuck you! And you see him in the background checking his friend, and like, then both Joel and him scurry to new positions. All that shit, I was like, fucking yeah, that looks just like the game. I felt like I was watching one of the cinematics. It was really kind of cool. And then, like, from there, I felt like it was over far too quick. They kind of melt that in with another scene that we get later where Joel's getting drowned in like a murky pool in a hotel that looked like the Frog Piano Hotel earlier,
mm-hmm.
right? And in another big kind of fight scene. And that's when she kind of saves his life. So they kind of melted both those game moments together into this scene, and they cut this. This should have been a bigger action scene for us. Instead, it went right into like, okay, we're in hide mode. We're going to wait here for 6 hours until the truck stops or whatever. Then we're going to make a whole bunch of noise down the block, kicking in fucking vents and shouting in the street, LA! but okay, all right. And then like, it just kind of fucking fizzled for me. Like all that Kathleen shit, all that new shit. I don't feel like we needed that. We need more Ellie and Joel getting through this fucking. Who cares why they're doing what they're fucking doing? Who cares whatso fucking ever? That like, that's not what we care. Like, we should be focused on the fucking job. Who cares about Kathleen and her goddamn fucking backstory and why she's sending her kid out to get fucking shot and bitching about her brother dying, like, because they were revolutionaries of some sort. Like who?
No, like, Joe, I hear you, and we'll talk all about it. We'll break it down. Let's get into the live chat a little bit. Luna says this episode was definitely slower than the last episode, but necessary. Phil's World, party time. Someone get the vodka. I'd watch that Mario clip. Edward Martin says, I loved it because for me, living in a high tension, never letting your guard down, just when both do boom caught slipping. Killmonger says this episode was short. Lots of love. At Jackie in the live chat, I absolutely loved the cinematography. I make note on it in the couple of notes for this episode. This episode looked beautiful and it was shot beautiful. JC Wilder agrees, says, I agree, kind of lame. Sonic Boy says, Kathleen kind of reminds me of Kara from The Walking Dead. Have some cookies, bang, bang, bang. Joel smirked a bunch in this episode. An hour and 20 minutes for episode 3 and 48 for episode 4. I don't know about that. This episode was short. A lot of this episode was short and wouldn't have been forced if they didn't focus the entire episode on Bill and Frank, says Slim. Dave Morello says, Kathleen is not working for me. Terrible acting. Yeah, what was on the floor? We'll talk about the floor in a second. I think I don't know what's in the game. I'm just gonna say, is there? Come on, there's a walker, not a walker. There's an infected in the floor. I don't know. I mean, I don't know specific. If it's not clicking, I don't hear any clicking. So it's probably a different kind. Has been foreshadowed by many people. There's many different kinds of infected. So it's probably yet another kind of infected that's down there.
Yeah, they tease it for next week.
Okay, I didn't get to see the next scenes from next week. So yeah, it's an infected. It's we're not talking about inside Marsalis Wallace's box here. Like what's in the box. We're not playing that game right now. We're not playing what's in the box. But
yeah, Killmonger, I completely agree with you. I don't buy her leading those guys either. Like every time she opened her mouth to give them commands, I felt like any one of them should have just like shot her and been like, okay, now that's done. What next, guys?
Were you getting Negan flashbacks for The Walking
Not
Dead?
just I was getting like my kid didn't make the tryouts for soccer team Karen in the fucking school parking lot or some shit like that's honestly what I was getting. Like that's all I got out of her mouth was just like cry, bitch, and moan, and like, yeah, you're a big tough guy because all these other people have guns around you, and then like in a moment of anger, you went and killed this guy. Maybe you were already going to kill him, but like you went
killed
and killed
a doctor.
The doctor.
She did have sort of a Kylo Ren moment where she went to the elevator and she like started beating the shit out of her helmet there and shot the doctor. We got the wonderful Anna from Red Lipstick Club podcast. I'm actually terrified of the revolutionaries just as much as the government in the situations like this. Eventually someone gets power hungry in these revolutionary groups. Absolutely. Yeah, what was that? Steph Snow says, yeah, what was that lady? And she ran into that room? Nah, bro. Steph Snow is not feeling it. Puzzle Cat in the live chat as well, says Kathleen, who cares? Sonic.
That actress is from Charlie's 2.5 Men. She's the one that kidnaps and kills Charlie, his stalker, through all the
seasons. The neighbor? Yes. That's what I recognize her for. She's the crazy neighbor from 2.5 Men. Okay. Yes. Oh, she's the prophet, obviously, says Jackie C. Joe is getting Negan flashbacks because she is Negan. They're all Negan, Maddie.
They're all Negan. No, it's not even Negan. It really isn't. It's.
And in Jack,
I can't even tell you what comparison it would be from that Walking Dead because this literally just reminded me of like. Just like.
And Jackie brings up another good point. Why shoot a doctor? That's like the worst decision ever. Like doctors are gold in this universe. Like doctors should be able to. They can almost get away with anything.
Well, come on. Like you're gonna have all sorts of factions that are gonna end up being like, it's the doctor's fault we're in this mess. It's science that did this.
Yeah, but those people are gonna die out. Like this isn't the first few years after. This is many years afterwards.
Those are the people that have the bunkers like Bill.
It's true. You're true. It's
so,
like Alex P. Keaton's dad in Tremors. I'll bring him up again. Like those type of guys, or Rosewood from Beverly Hills Cop. Yeah, I don't understand killing a doctor. Someone that should be in that kind of power shouldn't make fucking exactly, Anna. People in power shouldn't decide to go shoot the doctor. Tracy G with the super chat donation. Thank you so much, Tracy G. Boo to this episode.
Nobody blinks an eye about it. Nobody like says anything. Like they're all like, it's because like we get her brother was killed because Henry told Fedra about some sort of revolutionary shit that was going on. Okay. Like it just doesn't make. I'm not sympathetic for her at all.
I mean, maybe we'll get
Like
more.
Fedra's not this great thing either.
Joe,
But
our
come
super
on.
chat wheel landed on Joe does a character impression. So give me your impression of Pedro or of Joel laughing at the jeans joke. You're laughing, motherfucker. You're laughing, motherfucker. I got
that
you,
was
mother.
fucking stupid.
I got you, motherfucker. I got you, you
Yeah, no.
motherfucker. Okay, there we
That
go.
was a funny.
That was a funny exchange.
That was a funny scene.
They continue to be obviously the better part, especially Pedro Pascal. Really, continuously is the best thing about the show. He's great. He's charismatic on screen, and a character that isn't supposed to be charismatic, and he's able to be. And I know not everyone is feeling her, but Bella Ramsey's Ellie is growing on me, and I thought she's getting better each episode. Personally, for me, or maybe I'm television Stockholm syndrome, but I got more in this episode of her character again, hearing more of her backstory about her killing people in the past, and
all that pun joke shit. Like anytime, like you start just wandering around or standing around an area, she pulls that fucking book out and starts
talking shit. Okay, and then we also got the iconic car shot that everyone knows from The Last of Us, where it was for a second, where it's her leaning up against the window with him driving. We get that shot for a second. I think,
and the porn magazine happens in the game.
Oh, the porn magazine happens.
She stole that from Bill's house though, not found it in the car.
This little rapscallion. So let's get into the super chat again. We have a super chat donation from the amazing Tracy who says, "Boo this episode." I left 2 messages because the first one cut me off. We will get into your voicemails in a second. We got a bunch of voicemails. Make sure you're calling in. We'll get to all of them this evening. 781-990-8509. As I said at the beginning of the show, you can call that number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whenever you get a chance to watch our podcast. If you want, or live stream, if you want to get your voice in, just say, play this on the next Last of Us stream. Here we go in the live chat. We got the walking David in the live chat. Great to see David. I hope David's feeling awesome. Steph Snow says, please play my voicemail so I can die. Luna loves Joe's laugh. You don't need to explain some Merc's origin story, says Jackie. No doubt.
Yeah, you don't. You really don't. There's no point to explaining that story. I so agree. Like, and we don't need to see we unless they're setting up her to be like the big bad that chases him down now through all of fucking America.
Or does she have a change of heart and become a friend?
No.
That'd be really cheesy. That would be very Pokemon. Like they go into the town, they duel the gym leader here, and then they become friends with the gym leader, and Brock goes along on the mission with them.
Yeah.
No. But are these okay? So I guess my question here is this Kathleen thing in the Kansas City. That's all completely created for the show. She is not in the game. There's no character of Kathleen in the game.
No, and what I'm thinking is that there might end up being there's another character that kind of hunts for them.
And you think they're going to project that responsibility onto Miss Kathleen?
Yes. And
so Joel is going to be Charlie Sheen in this situation, and she's going to be stalking Charlie. Oh my goodness. Let's get to our voicemails here. This first one is from our good buddy from 773. Let's hear what he has to say about this episode.
Hey, Phil, can I ask you a serious question?
Oh no, I don't want a serious question. Don't ask me
serious. No seriousness.
Does this seem like a serious show? Did Joe and I seem like serious streaming hosts here? If you have once listened to some serious stuff, there's plenty of other people you can click on YouTube right now that are a lot more serious than Joe and I. Oh my goodness, serious.
But we'll take your question.
Yeah, we'll take your question anyway.
What do you think about tonight's episode?
Oh, that's not serious.
I loved it.
Okay.
But
do you know what my father once said, who my father happens to be?
Everything before a but wasn't true.
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit. Everything that you said before that but, dude, you just didn't want to tell people. You didn't feel the... No, I'm kidding. You're fine. I'm sorry. We're having fun with you because that's what we do. Because this show isn't serious. That's why.
What do you think about tonight's episode? I loved it, but it felt short.
Okay, Ned.
I thought we were going to get a little more. The credits rolled. I'm thinking we have at least 15 more minutes of show to have. That was such a
tease, cock tease
for me.
Literally,
But
2 minutes before the
love
end
it.
of the episode, I said, when the screen went black for a second, I was like, that can't be the end of the episode.
Did they Sopranos ending you a little bit?
And then it came back, and the kid was like, no, it's only 9:47, and then it came back, and a minute later it was over.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I didn't even realize it because this is a lot shorter than the first 3 because usually they're ending right at 10. This ended right at 9:45. Bam. I started the episode pretty soon. Like, it didn't load for me till 9:01. And I didn't skip the previews. I watched it. I watched scenes from last week. I watched all that stuff. And the episode still ended right at 9:45. I looked at my clock. I'm like, whoa, it's 9:45. Damn.
Yeah, I felt ripped off.
Yeah, and I felt like even for this, like for our show, I set the event to start at 9:35 just to give us a little wiggle time, in case we have 10:35. Yeah, in case we have trouble clicking on the episode or anything. I'm like, oh my god, we have almost an hour to go. No, we're starting early. It definitely felt okay in old school television on network TV or if we'll try to encourage Joe to go on another Law and Order rant tonight, or shows like Law and Order or normal network TV, you do get about 45 minutes of content. But usually on HBO shows, they border the hour. They border like
56
50 minutes. Yeah, 49, 50 minutes or something. This seemed closer to the 40 minutes of content that you would get on a commercial episode.
I feel like the end, they wanted to tell the Bill episode as an episode, but they had to tack on the Joel and Ellie beginning and Joel and Ellie ending.
Yeah, the cookie with the cream filling.
Right, so I think that their intent was probably to give us maybe more of that Joel and Ellie in this one, but it played better of them arriving last week rather than arriving at the beginning of this week.
And again, we're not. We just need to call it like we see it episode to episode. I'm still really feeling this show. I thought this episode was good. And those of you that really felt this episode, just like last week, to those that didn't feel share your thoughts. We want to hear it. If you liked it, if you think Joe and I are being too harsh, let us the fuck know. I think we both liked this episode. We were just a little underwhelmed is the vibe I'm getting from both of us. And what Red Lipstick...
Here's the thing. When the season is over and anybody who has to catch up and watch the whole season and what's that called when you binge that when you binge they're not going to notice that this was a bad or a slow episode. It's going to go right into the next episode there, and they're going to be like, okay.
It's going to blend. I'm sure if I watched every episode of Daredevil week to week, and I think that show in my memory is exciting, balls to the wall every episode. There's an episode where he lays in bed the whole episode and talks to Rosario Dawson. There's like one episode where if I waited a week to watch that episode in Daredevil, I'd be a little let down. But watching it on a binge, I'm like, this is fucking awesome. And but realistically, if I'm comparing it, when you go week to week, you can't help but compare each individual episode against each individual episode. And to what Red Lipstick Club said in the live chat, this is generally how I feel. The after credits scenes said they made those characters to tell more of a backstory to the revolutionaries. This episode so far...
Who gives a shit? You know what the revolutionaries are? The revolutionaries are people who just don't give a shit about what to follow Fedor's rules or saw them killing a whole bunch of people who weren't allowed into the quarantine zone, or any of these number of things that Fedor did that were awful.
Absolutely. And Anna also added that this was by far my least favorite episode. And I think we learned enough about backstory of revolutionaries in our first episode with, I'm blanking on the character's name, the woman that gives Ellie...
Firefly.
Yeah, the Fireflies.
Marlene.
Marlene. In that one little scene with Marlene, we learned enough of the backstory of what revolutionaries are in this world. I thought that scene and that dynamic in that worked a shit ton better than this one in this dynamic worked.
Right, and all we had to do was say, are these did the Fireflies do this?
No, it's another group.
and Joel could have easily said, "No, I haven't seen their logo anywhere. This is going to be another group."
Yeah, there's
and
other.
then you don't need anything
We
else.
almost had that scene when they had the conversation. You just tweak that dialogue a little bit to have them go, yeah, not just that they're people, like it's a line from Rise of Skywalker. That was basically a line from where the general is screaming to his number one, well, where are all these ships from? Oh my goodness, how did they get a navy? And he's like, it's not a navy, they're just people. It was basically the same line, but instead of that line, you just say, no, there's many groups that aren't quite as good,
Benevolent.
something as the Fireflies, and they think they're doing the right thing. This is probably one
All
of those.
these groups think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, blah 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 blah. Something
It's
like
just,
that.
It's not them. I haven't seen their signs anywhere. I haven't seen their graffiti or.
Exactly. So let's listen to another voicemail here. This is from let's let Steph Snow have a panic attack as she's gonna hear her voice on the show. The wonderful, the amazing Miss Steph Snow.
Hey Phil, this is Steph from 860. So I thought this episode was pretty good for establishing the relationship between Joel and Ellie a little bit more. But I don't know. I've watched gameplay and I'm not really quite sure who this woman is and what her whole connection of this like mafiosa sort of temperament is and why she has such high stakes over everyone. So that was a little confusing because they didn't explain it at all in the TV show. And I don't know. I'm just kind of like quite unsure about this like 45-minute nothing burger that they served us after this beautiful episode. So I'm definitely locked in for the long run, but I feel like this was lacking a little. And then, you had Pedro Pascal hosting Saturday Night Live, and I don't know, I just feel like a lot of eyes were on this episode, and it kind of drew a blank. Okay, just interested to hear what you think. Bye.
Okay, Joe, thank you so much for the call, Steph Snow. Do you think, was this episode, I mean, we've been talking around it, is this episode just like a nothing burger for you, like a 45-minute nothing burger essentially for you?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of was, wasn't it? Like, I mean, like she said, there was some good character development, relationship building between Joel and Ellie, but the whole Kathleen thing, none of that's in the game. I think it doesn't play well in the series. It there's more wrong with it than right with it, and we just don't need it. There's none of that. There's no other perspective in the game. Like, I don't see why they needed to go after that in the show.
Yeah, especially when
it's one thing we did this backstory for Frank and Bill, right? But what that kind of does is that was more to I felt like that might have been more to inform us in a way that, like, through. I mean, technically, we really didn't need that. I liked it; it played out better. But this just didn't feel right.
But what we need by that is seeing what other kinds of folks besides military or organizations that we've already seen are handling living in this world. How somebody like a one-off person, like a survivalist, will do. It gave us newfound perspective in this kind of environment in a apocalyptic world. I can see the use for it. People can argue with me if they want, but I can see the use for it for involving more texture into a zombie apocalypse world, because every time we see it, we usually see large groups of people hanging out, military organizations, things like that. We don't just see two people in the middle of nowhere surviving, having a love like the Notebook love story over the course of a lifetime. It was a unique story within this kind of world, where tonight was repeating stuff that I feel like we already did with the Fireflies to a certain extent, but not quite as good, to pad something out in stuff that was just seemingly what I'm hearing from some people that was just added. If it wasn't for the great cinematography and the great acting by our two principals, I think it would be a problem. I think the other problem in the way it works with the Fireflies that we saw at the beginning of the season is those were good acting performances. I don't think Charlie's neighbor did a great job in tonight's episode in her performance. It
Awful.
seemed
I really think she was awful.
it seemed more middle school drama-y to me a little bit. It wasn't, and I don't shit on actors often, but she seemed like she was in the wrong kind of show. Like she was trying out for Alpha for The Walking Dead, and she didn't get it, so she got this instead. It was
almost felt like it felt like a step down, the whole scene with her and the doctor and coming out and, oh look, your son is still alive but almost dead. Joel didn't kill him fully.
Yeah. And again, I'm not saying I thought Pedro was awesome in this episode. I thought Bella was awesome. I thought cinematography and the action when we got it was good. But this episode is the first episode I've had a moment of fear that, is this show going to be consistently leave us wanting on the action and decide to be a little bit more, and this isn't a bad thing, this is just I have to alter my expectations for it, that they're curbing the action and what we see, because most of the action in the game is gameplay, so they're adding a lot more character dynamics and turning
it doesn't matter that a lot of the action is gameplay. Like, let us see Joel and Ellie run around and fucking
my only question
action it up.
My only question now is, I don't know why in my own head I expected to see one or two montagey music scenes with some action going on. We haven't seen any of that stuff. I feel like I've loved these 4 episodes, I really have, but I feel like in general, unless my memory's short, we haven't had a lot of like action or feeling of tension going on with the things that are happening on screen yet. And I feel like there needs to be some of that, more of that stuff introduced. Everything that's been great.
There was some in the
pilot at the beginning.
And there was some at the museum.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like I want to feel that all the fucking time on this show, because I think they do it well when they do it. And maybe
yes. With last week's episode and this week's episode, it's been neglected a bit. Even the action that was on this episode,
even the way Pedro's like
short.
Yeah, even the way Pedro's talking about it, where he's like, "Oh, we don't have to worry about any infected out here. It's chill out here." And again, I'm afraid of these people that they bumped into. I'm not put off by this episode. This is the first episode I'm like, okay, are we gonna get like a heavy, like, is this just not and again, I'm asking you because you know the story. Is this just not an action heavy story?
It is an action heavy story.
Then we haven't got that yet. I haven't felt that yet. From someone that's coming in this naked, I felt it's more, I'm thinking that maybe I understood this more incorrectly.
What you gotta understand too is that even, it's your typical, in game wise, right? You clear out an area, you're gonna want to search the area too, because you need materials, you need bullets, you need to make sure you pick up your supplies as you're moving along through the story. There's no like, I'm going to go back to this town and go to the store or any kind of that shit.
It's not open world. It's narrative based story game.
Right. So when you're in an area, you look through the area. So there's a lot of slow time too, because you want to make sure you get through it. But like every time you get to an area, there's some sort of shit that you got to fight through. Like whether it be reavers, rapers, murderers, rapers, and reavers,
and I hope next week starts really having to feel fighty. And I just want to comment to one of our
runners,
to our amazing channel member Sonic, your boy. Random comment. I'm halfway through Severance, and I truly understand the hype. It's one of those shows that some shows get hyped up and it doesn't live up to the hype. I feel like Severance lives up to the hype when people get a chance to watch it after hearing people blow it up. Great show, well put together. Especially if you're a Ben Stiller fan and enjoy his filmmaking, and I think he does, and he kills it on Severance. And I think it's one of the best first seasons of a television show that exists. Anyways, Red Lipstick Club says, I just think she wants she wants to be believable as a leader, and that's why they're revolutionaries, not criminals, and they're putting on tire spikes. I will check out Severance tonight. Great show. That did explain it.
Right. That wasn't to stop people from leaving. So if you're thinking that, like, oh, they would set up a thing to stop Henry from leaving town, they used all that shit to get to, like, lure them in. Like, that wasn't to stop Henry from leaving, sending out at someone that was injured, tire strikes, spikes, and like.
So the guy at the end of the episode was Henry's kid, right? That was holding the gun on them. Probably.
Yes.
Probably.
No, brother. Henry and Sam, they're brothers.
Henry Sims. Okay, so let's get to a couple more voicemails here, Joe, before we get into because we have the voicemail line is packed right now, Joe. So let's get to these voicemails. This is area code 706.
Hey, Phil and Joe, it's Jackie.
Welcome, Jackie.
So I am calling in defense of this episode.
Do it. Do it. Bring it.
This episode was a setup, obviously.
Yes.
That's why it was slower in tone, and we got some action, but it's setting up for next week. It's the calm before the storm. As far as the game, it pretty much is the same as the game, minus a few deviations here and there. But the thing that I'm defending is the fact that Joel and Ellie's relationship is starting to develop. Like, you're starting to...
I'm going to play the rest of your message about 100%. I think, and I can't wait to hear you defend this, but I will agree with you. And I will also agree with you with something that Joe said earlier, too. When we think back on the season, we won't think of this episode as a short point. It's just when you wait week to week, when you see the first half of something, it's like, oh, now I just want to see the second half. It drives my TV-ness crazy.
To be fair, what she's saying, all great points. Still slow. Still
short.
Left me feeling it was short. Still left me feeling like they had 15 more minutes, 10 more minutes of film we could have got. A lot takes place in 10 minutes on television. Like, we could have gotten more. We could have gotten 5 to 7 more minutes in that ambush scene. Come on.
Yeah, there could have been more people ambushing them, and you see more what Joel can do. And
more what Joel can do, absolutely. Yep, maybe Ellie stabs somebody, doesn't use the gun yet, doesn't have the chance to use the gun, pull out the gun yet. Like, lots, so much more.
Yep. Okay, so let's continue with Dracarys bitches. Rest of her message.
See them get more open with each other, which we need by episode 4, you know, let the ball get rolling, you know. So that's why I liked it a lot, especially the very last scene where Joel, for the first time since his daughter Sarah died, he actually laughed.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think Jackie makes an excellent point that Pedro Pascal is amazing in this. It's almost like you can see him laughing and see his emotion within his Joel exterior. So every time it comes out, it definitely I can feel it. I emotionally feel it, Joe.
Yes.
So it was nice to see Ellie and her stupid pun jokes do that, you know, and do that for him, and he was just giggling, you know.
It was great stuff. And again, that's why this episode, I wouldn't say it's bad in any way, shape, or form. I just think compared to the other 3, it's the lowest on that ranking scale. If I'm ranking the episodes, and we will at the end, it will be probably my lowest score, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. I'm still overall liking this show. So I'm actually enjoying your defense of it. It's making me feel good. And I think next week it's again doing a television version of the Eddie Murphy joke of making us starve and giving us the cracker next week. And the action, when we get it's going to feel like the greatest action. Just don't make us too hungry or we're not going to want it anymore.
Yeah, but here's the thing. And that's just it. After last week, this is an action game. This is a third-person shooter game. right? Like, I'm not over the last now 4 episodes. There's not a lot of action
Not
throughout
yet.
from the perspective of Joel, and
And we
it's,
and you want to see that shit. That's perfectly
I want
explainable.
to see that shit. I like part of what is. I'm sorry, and I'm gonna say it, but part of what makes this game fucking awesome is how fucking brutal this man is. This man like crosses the fucking country. He kills lots of fucking people doing it in front of Ellie to protect Ellie. Yes, to get her where they're going. Yes, people who are attacking them. Yes, lots and lots of runners, but like he uses bats with spikes, he uses bombs, he uses Molotov cocktails, he uses all sorts of fucking guns, he uses whatever it fucking takes to get the job done. And we're in fucking Kansas City.
So he's
We're already in fucking Kansas City.
It kind of looks the same as Western Mass. And let's continue over here. Joe, I think Joe needs to step away for 1 second. Let's go. Pedro is great in the show. It's the lowest for sure, but after last week, we need a break from the heartbreak. Amen, Jackie. There's one short. Oh, great. The Super Mario Brothers thing. I want to see that Super Mario Brothers thing. Let's listen to the rest of Jackie's voicemail.
And it was
And great to see you, Hendrix. It's been a long time, my friend. Awesome to see you, my buddy.
a beautiful moment until,
It is Mario time.
the guns were pointing in their faces. So you'll get to see who those two are, and I am so looking forward to next week because it's going to be wild. People are not prepared. They just aren't. Anyway, love you guys.
Love you,
You have a
Jackie.
good night. I'll be in the comment section. Bye.
You too, my friend. Hope you are well. And bro, fuck you, Phil. I'm from Western Mass. I moved to Monterey, California. Fuck it. Love you, buddy. Love you. You fucking from Belchertown, dude. From fucking Belchertown. We have Slim says, Joe, I have a question, or I'm framing Slim's comment as a question to you. We haven't seen enough infected, in my opinion.
And that's another thing. Like, yeah, we saw that horde in Boston come running through.
Boston.
That was all writhing on the ground.
Say Boston like this. Boston.
Yeah, right. And but
Northern Canada.
It's we haven't seen nearly enough. Like they are there. You by the time you get to Bills, you've already encountered like quite a few infected, and they've not given us. They've given us like what, like that one scene.
Yeah, a handful, and I feel like
two scenes or something.
Yeah, a clicker scene, and then that scene, and then a couple.
They gave us a clicker scene, a runner scene, and then the trapped thing scene that she stabs in the face.
Yeah. So let's get to a few more.
I'm not sure there's been anything else.
Let's get to a few more voicemails. This is from The Voice at 916.
Hello, Phil and Joe. How's it going? That episode was so quick. I was like, what? Is there more gonna happen? But the reason I called Joe is I do have to say one positive thing about this episode and give props to you as well. Bella Ramsey, you're right. I saw the emotion. I saw the differentiation in the way she expressed herself with Joel. You were right. Grand Poobah. Anyway, I just had to call to give you your props, Joe.
And as you know, and as everyone knows, we always know that Joe is always right. And we'll keep the Joe is always right logo on the screen for a little bit, just because you can't see it right now, Joe, but it is on. It is on screen to symbolize you always being fucking correct. Okay, so let's get into the wonderful, amazing Tracy G, our super chatter for tonight. Thank you so much, Tracy G, for leaving that super chat donation. Keep the voicemails coming. I see that we keep getting voicemails tonight. Keep them coming in, 781-990-8509. As much fun as Joe and I having talking to each other, it's even more fun when we get your voices in on the show. Call the Issues Hotline, 781-990-8509. Here we go is from Tracy G. Let's see.
Hi, Phil and Joe. This is Tracy G from...
Tracy G, you're awesome. Heineken, I just wanted to say thank you so much for becoming a channel member, buddy. Super appreciate it. And sorry, Tracy G. Let me start this message over.
Hi, Phil and Joe. This is Tracy G from Chicago again. So I'm calling again for this episode. I know last time I called, I was 20 minutes into the third episode, and I did finish that, and I was right. It was complete and utter trash.
I'm loving Tracy G, and thank you so much, Tracy, for the Super Chat donation. Burn it, Tracy G. Let's hear what Tracy G has to say.
This episode, however, is also complete utter trash. I am convinced now that this show is not for the people who watch the video game. We have not had any of the action sequences in this show. Every episode has just been like, meh. This one, I'm not sure as to why we're not seeing runners, clickers, monsters. Yep. Joe is acting very beta male, very soft-spoken. Like, I feel no tension. I feel no chemistry. So I'm convinced that this is a different show than the actual game. And I think the direction of the show is trash. I think the Pedro is okay. However, I think the director is not directing him right. It's something off with him just being too soft-spoken for me. Ellie, I just don't like the casting for Ellie. The casting in all of this, actually, like the woman Kathleen, she was terrible. She should just stay on Yellow Jacket. She's way much better there. I'm not sure what they're actually trying to give us. It seems as if they're giving us all the cutscenes from the actual video game with no action in it, and they're writing this. So basically what they're doing is a Scott Gimple and Angela Kang of The Walking Dead.
Oh, no, she
they're
didn't just say
giving us the worst of the Walking Dead.
That's harsh. That's harsh. Okay, we're going to finish your message, and you have a...
Gauntlet.
I know, she just called them the Gimple. She just Gimpled them, Joe.
Now, here's the thing.
We'll play the rest of your message, don't worry.
We had just gotten finished talking about not enough runners and clickers. We also got finished talking about how Kathleen is not very good acting-wise in this role, or the whole story that they showed us from that group. It doesn't play well to me, I said. She makes a lot of points. I don't agree with her about last week's episode. I don't agree with her.
Yeah, I don't agree with everything, but I'm entertained by her message.
But I can't argue with a lot of it. And
yeah.
Let's
listen.
Like I enjoy the casting. I think the casting is great.
I think calling it Gimpleness. I think calling it Gimpleness is going a bit too far.
It's too early. It's too early.
It's too early for the Gimple. Yeah. It's too early for the Gimple insult. You didn't have me till Gimple, but I was feeling, and I was like
half of what you said until Gimple. I was with the Gimple thing. I'm not in Kane.
And people that don't know, people that are watching us, let's be clarified.
I'm not there yet. I'm far from there.
Scott Gimple, and just for anyone that might not know, Joe, Scott Gimple and Angela King are the
ruiners of The Walking Dead.
The showrunners of The Walking Dead. Let's get into the live chat. And again, I'll finish these messages. Please, says I thought this episode was okay. It was just short. Completely agree about the Ellie casting, says The Walking. David Killmonger says, damn. Why So Curious says I like Pedro, but I get the Bella hate. AK says, well, it's an adaptation, not the game. So, and AK, great to see AK in the live chat.
And that's true, and that's fair, and just like a lot of the early book readers have to get, and all the Lord of the Rings fans have to get over. It's always an adaptation when it goes from the book to the screen.
Remember when Devin was trying to tell us how crappy the Lord of the Rings movies are because they didn't include everything? We're like, but they're good movies, dude. He's like,
and here's the thing. I never read the fucking books. I love those movies.
Yeah, me too. Like, I mean, I did listen to the audiobooks, but much later, like after I saw the movies, because the movies got me into it. So who gives a fuck if they don't have this weird random scene? Peter Jackson did, as shitty as he did with those Hobbit movies, he did a fucking amazing thing with those Lord of the Rings movies and
I don't know, but like 7 hours of them running across a field is fucking in mountain. Like,
I could watch that forever, Joe. Okay, so as Hendrik says, and we were talking about this as well, and I'll make sure I play the rest of Tracy's message. Thank you so much, Tracy, for calling, and keep calling in and leaving your thoughts if you keep watching. Gimple was a low post as Sonic. But Hendrik says, I think we need to see the whole season through as a whole before we judge it and go that far. And I'm sorry, but this podcast is brought to you by Chef Boyardee. Actually, fuck Chef Boyardee. I'm all Franco-American. I'm all SpaghettiOs. Fuck that beefaroni shit. But we got Luna with the super chat donation. Shouldn't it have been a big clue for Joel and Ellie when the room in the last scene was clean with a comfy bedding?
I'll say this. After walking up, 30-something flights of stairs?
33.
33 flights of stairs? I'm thinking about that not as a 56-year-old, but as a 47-year-old, and I'm like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
Shoot me in the face.
Yeah, dude.
like comfy bedding, all I see is even putting the glass down was too much. At least just get off your ass. No, we're staying right here.
Joe, at this point, I'm tired walking up one flight of stairs. Okay, let's listen to the rest of Tracy's messages, and we'll make sure we play all your voicemails. If you have anything you want to get in the conversation, you agree with Tracy, you want to disagree with Tracy, disagree with Joe or I, call in 781-990-8509. And our super chat landed on drink. So everyone, wherever you are, with your water, coffee, soda, or vodka like me, let's toast this to the wonderful Luna for giving us our super chat donation. Thank you so much, Luna. Toast it up. Okay. So let's finish this.
Walking Dead right now in The Last of Us, which is just it irks me. I think that they're not focusing on the one thing that I will say is that, and I'm going to be the first to say it, D&D would have did a complete and way better job adapting this story versus Craig Mason. Also, another thing that I noticed is that the reason I think we're just going downhill from here on out until the end of the season 1 finale is because one of the
and the message gets cut off there, but continues in the next message. But wait a minute, stop the execution. What is it this time, Alistair? I was with about 50% of your message at the first, and then as you went, I slightly started to disagree with you, and then you end it with, there's a second half of this. D&D would have done a better job adapting it. Okay, and I don't want to shit on D&D for everything that they did, because they did do the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones
because someone was working with them through most of those 4
seasons. Yes, an old guy with a beard that wasn't fucking Santa Claus.
Almost perfectly well written scene.
Yeah, he was writing an episode a season and hanging out in the room until they didn't do Lady Stoneheart and made him feel shitty and left. Where was first reported by Joe Dirtylocks that there was an argument between George R. R. Martin and D&D. If you look back in time, we got the receipts on that one. Joe was
my first reporting, but
yeah, I think it was. But I love you, Tracy. But I don't know about the D&D thing. You talking about Devin Dworkus? Are you talking about a Dungeons and Dragons version of Last of Us? I think that'd be really awesome. You could see that, right, Joe? Like a Dungeons and Dragons game. But, okay, if D&D were working with somebody else, like if you're saying if they have Druckmann in the room with them doing the show, like they would have adapted the material better as a 1-for-1 without them not necessarily writing it. I'm gonna add on to what Tracy's saying, that not she would want them to write it, that they would be producing the replication of the game experience. And AK says, yeah, she's gone too far right now. Let's listen to the end of Tracy's message here, and then we're gonna get into our buddy, the Walking David here, who left us a couple of voicemails.
Tracy G again. Sorry, it clicked off. I was on a little tangent.
You were. I'm loving your voicemail, and I'm loving all of this, but I'm still flabbergasted at the D&D comment.
D&D comment, yeah.
Maybe I'd say Vince Gilligan. He's my pick for everything.
But the other thing I was going to say really quick is that the one thing that The Walking Dead did really good from seasons 1 through 6 is they did the character development, but they also, every episode, focused on the walkers, the main gist of the story. This right here, they're focusing too much on trying to force chemistry between Joel and Ellie, and I just think that we're just all screwed. I think this was a very clickbaited show. For everyone to watch, and it just doesn't look like it's going to get any better here on out. I do agree with Joe.
What was that, Joe?
That was kind of my worry all along, that the hype was going to be too much for it to handle. And I think they might be focusing a little bit too much on the wrong thing.
We'll see.
Give us less of that Kathleen shit. Give us more Joel and Ellie and more action in that time.
I definitely need more monsters.
Though from the episode 2, I think when they took Phaedra out that state building scene and had it just with the clickers, I totally agree that should have been the first time. But yeah, I can just sit here and just watch it and just not think too much into it anymore, because I know that this is not the show that I want. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks. Goodbye.
And that's another fair point with bringing up the State House scene, with the lack of Phaedra's intervention against the Fireflies, instead making it the clickers, because there's such a lack of clickers and now lack of Phaedra, that really they've removed two of the main threats. In that State House scene, there was other problems with it that we've talked about as well. She's not wrong. This episode, after such a good episode, first three episodes were increasingly good. But I feel like this was rather much of a step back in a lot of ways.
I know what we do here is overanalyze every episode like it's like we're watching we're watching a sports ball game and we're coming here afterwards like, oh my god, the team's gonna lose the game now, oh my god. But realistically, looking at this, they could be saving it, and when it actually comes, it's gonna feel.
So how many episodes we got? 10?
9.
12? What?
9.
This is halfway mark.
This is the halfway mark.
This is halfway mark, right?
Is the halfway mark. Halfway through the next episode is the halfway mark. Yes.
And so we got
and
we got a lot of work to do, as far as I'm concerned. This is supposed to be Pittsburgh, but they moved us to Kansas City for some odd reason.
City.
I don't know why they would have done that. Like, it pretty much says "fuck you, Pittsburgh."
Go to Kansas City. They said in the after thing that the area that they were shooting in Canada looked more like Kansas City than Pittsburgh. I think that was the rationale.
Yeah, well, 10 miles west of Boston, there's no place that has a brook with mountains in the background.
Hey, Fitchburg has an argument with it.
Fitchburg is not 10 miles west of Boston.
Wayland's kind of like, they could have been in Wayland, right?
Wayland?
Yeah, Wayland. Is that
no.
west?
I'm not even sure where the fuck Wayland is.
Wayland is next to Newton, and it's kind of rural. There's a lot of farms and stuff in Wayland. Or Raleigh. Raleigh's a little farmy, or Middleton or something.
No, that's not west. That's
I
west
know.
North.
I know they're not
and
west.
That's more like 20 miles.
I know, but still. Hey, come on, Joe. Give the show a fucking break. Next episode on a Friday. Oh, really, Brian? That would be amazing if it was on.
Like a Woburn, dude.
Yeah,
Woburn is 20 miles west of Boston.
Hendrix says Dirty Luck's 100% right. Love the Patriots jacket. We got Puzzle Cat. If D&D did The Last of Us, Joel and Ellie would have time warp to Wyoming by now.
Right, like we have 5 more episodes rather, and it's a lot of story to tell from here through, and maybe they're trying to get a lot of the stuff out of the way. I'm convinced Kathleen is going to be with us for the rest of the season. Kathleen is our dad.
Oh no, or
Kathleen is the guy that is for all those who know the game. Kathleen is the guy at the end.
Oh my!
Because why take the time to fucking like introduce this backstory if she's not going to fucking hunt them down through all of fucking America now?
Dude, I don't want to see Charlie.
Dude,
Charlie Sheen soccer. The whole...
this is sitting in the front of my fucking mind, Phil.
I don't think. Wait.
Jesus,
excuse me. But let's not worry about that until it happens. I want to take this super chat donation and say hello to the amazing Carla Wayne in the live chat, the talented and amazing Carla Wayne. Jackie C, just because I need to say this comment because Joe knows that I'm not just saying this by saying you and I are connected here right now, Jackie. SpaghettiOs. Yeah, SpaghettiOs.
Chef Boyardee, 20-year-old.
Franco America,
94.
Best with bacon over a campfire. Everyone has their ways of doctoring up those things, and I think everyone has a frozen food or a canned food that's their comfort food that tastes good to them because it's the one that they eat, and no one else is gonna like if you like offer that to somebody else. I'm like, oh, it's gross, but for me it's SpaghettiOs and meatballs, and I doctor it up a little bit, and I take the meatballs out, and I make like little meatball subs with it, and I do this whole thing, and also with Elio's Pizza, I turn it into crackers, like pizza crackers, and our friend Nick's food is beefaroni. He likes the Chef Boyardee beefaroni. I don't know what your frozen food thing is. I don't think you have one. You're not very picky when it comes to things like that. You're whatever's available.
Canned beans are fine with me. Give me some Boston baked beans.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what was available at your house when we used to go there. You do the Ritz crackers and cheese thing sometimes too.
But none of it's, dude. It's all good.
For you, it's coffee.
Coffee, yes.
Coffee,
and it's funny how the coffee thing is brought up in this episode.
Yep, you would drink that
it's
shit.
Brought up a few times in the game as well.
Damn, that episode just went fast as Heineken. And let's get to our voice. We've got Tracy in the live chat. With D&T, we've got a lot more action scenes. I love that Tracy is in the live chat defending the comment. Let's get to the walking David.
Phil, Joe, how are you doing, you guys?
Better.
And what's up, motherfucking chat? I just got done with the episode.
We're doing better now that you called in, David.
Sorry I'm a little late to the recap and review. But like what everybody, I think, was saying in the chat, I do feel like this episode was lacking severely. If we knew that we were going to get, like, a ton more episodes, you know what I mean? And I know that they might have already renewed it for a possible season 2.
They have.
It would be one thing to have episodes like this, kind of a bottleneck episode or a very small scale, not much happens. But here's the thing. You are still in the process of trying to win your audience over because there's still a significant portion of people who haven't played the game, who are just watching the episodes as they are, so they don't have any kind of scope for what story is to come. And this is the type of episode that causes you to kind of lose interest if you're just a lay person, just watching a show and you're hoping to watch for like zombie gore.
Yeah, and I will play the rest of your message.
Especially after last week's episode.
Yeah, people were, and someone said this earlier, people were hungry for an action episode because they did the character piece last week, and it was a great character piece. And to come off this episode and do an episode that was equally as slow but not as depthful, it was more noticeable. And to David's point, people like me or other people that are coming in this or are on the fence about it, they're still sort of adapting themselves to this show. So I feel like if they are saving all the action for the end of the season, it will pay off for the quality, but it might lose a few people along the way.
Like, we already haven't had enough runners and clickers. They're already teasing, like, another monster type to come out, right? Like,
so is that how they're doing?
Why are we even afraid of, like, the other, like...
Right, no, exactly. I don't necessarily I don't like how they're introducing it more like Monster of the Weekish, where every week we introduce one of them instead of it just being like impromptu. I do want to get to a comment that Anil says, because I don't recognize the name in the chat. Welcome to the chat, and thank you for the comment. Josh Holloway should have played Joel. Season 3 of Colony, Josh with his beard and acting was perfect. Joel. Pedro is the same actor in every show and movie. Is Josh Holloway, just to familiarize me, is Josh Holloway Sawyer from Lost? Is that who Josh Holloway is? I could be wrong, but if so, I always wanted him to play even though I love Butcher there, I wanted him to play Dr. McCoy. I'm a big fan of Sawyer from Lost, if that's who Josh Holloway is. And I even watched his show when he was like part machine or something. He had a data machine where it was when they kept trying to make things out. Anyways, the last episode, and I'd say the first 3 were a high ba, as I'm going to use my Boston accent. Let's play the rest of David's message.
Or whatever. And she's like, "What's a siphon? Hey, what did the Mexican fire chief name his 2 sons? Jose and Jose." You know, and that's the whole episode. You're like,
David, your delivery on that pun was great.
Okay. It literally, in the episode, was a perfect description of what the episode was. What I mean by that is it's like Joel and her are just riding along and nothing is happening. And then in the process of that nothing happening, they literally come to a dead end and then have to rewind and then get lost, which is exactly like what the writers did while writing this episode. Okay, we're going. Here's where we're going. Where are we going? Where's the highway? Who is that?
Life is a highway, David. You got to ride it all day long.
David, that doesn't make too much sense why they would try to go anywhere near any city.
And I love how David's coming out swinging too. He's like absolutely, I wouldn't go near any city. I'd stay out in the boonies the whole fucking time, Joe. Michael Heath with the super chat donation. Thank you so much, Michael. I'll go spin the wheel for you in a moment. Thank you so much for that super chat, and to all of our super chatters tonight and our new channel members. We really do appreciate that. For you channel members, you can pop in and use some of our custom emojis. We have the game version of Joel and Ellie and the show version of Joel and Ellie. We have Joe and I screaming, me smiling. We also have Polly fucking Walnuts and our shit buddy logo. And the more channel members we get, the more emojis it unlocks. But I do appreciate all of you guys that help support what we do here. Soft episode, Hendrix says, no question, but everyone will tune in until the season ends. Can't nitpick it too much. Firemen know how to handle their hose. Let's continue with David's message and keep the voicemails coming. 781-990-8509. As we said, as much as we like talking, we like listening to. And David finishes it off here.
I can't believe in my last long-ass message that I forgot to rant about this bitch. This Kathleen actress, I'm sorry. She's one of my least favorite actresses in the biz right now, and I don't know why they keep thinking that she has range or that she's capable of playing like tough and crazy. It's like, just leave her in the 2.5 Men era and then just let her die there, okay? Nobody would follow this bitch. I don't care what we learn about her. From what we do know about her that we got in this episode, A, completely fucking pointless, B, not captivating, and C, it's just like, I would never follow that chick. She just seems weak on the face of it. And clearly if she's killing doctors, she's, half retarded. So anyways, yeah, I hope other people hated that chick.
I didn't.
Also,
like
Ellie's face still drives me a little crazy. There's something off about it. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out.
Dave, and you can contact David if you want to cast David in your next production at Walking David. No, I'm kidding. Walking David. And let's continue. Area code 304.
Hey.
And it's great to see Yellow Jackets lady. Carla Wayne says, I was surprised to see that actress in that role. Oh, yeah. Madone.
Well, I was surprised to see anybody in that role because that role didn't exist.
Yeah. And
then like her.
Yeah, she definitely brought a little bit of sitcom energy to the show that I wasn't necessarily feeling.
Like, here's the thing. We're going to make The Last of Us. This is big news. Everybody's going to be jumping at the bit. You probably have your pick of fucking names from a hat that you could go with. And it feels like you might have done that. Why did you cast her? Like, does she know someone? Is she married to someone in the cast? Like, it doesn't make much sense. Why not just go with a completely unknown? Like, there's got to be a million better actors and actresses out there that can perform
Yeah, but
this task
yeah,
without going with someone who is legit mediocre at their craft.
yeah. I mean, I think she works in a sitcom context as an over-the-top actress, but I don't think.
I liked her in Two and a Half
Yeah,
Men.
you're
I
actually
really
you're
did.
actually a fan of that show.
To a point.
Yeah. So here we go.
To put your point.
Let's go to area code 304.
Hey, it's Mad Sinister from West Virginia.
Welcome.
You guys are doing a great job with these recasts, and I love watching them because usually after I watch a show, there's nobody to talk about it with because a lot of my family doesn't watch the same stuff that I watch. And I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a really good episode overall. And I kind of agree with what Jackie was saying, that I think that we're building up to something really good next week. And I think they haven't been using as much like money on the action and stuff because they are going to use it big in a couple of the other upcoming episodes. My question is, why do you think it's an
I'm going to play the rest of your question first, but I want to comment on what you just said. That's very possible. Budget isn't infinite, and they could be saving up the budget for a couple of big scenes without getting in too much into spoilers. Jackie said something in the live chat a second ago about a couple big moments. Are there a couple of big, more huge action set pieces that they could be saving budgetary reasons for at the end, Joe?
There could be a few visual things that we're going to get. But including a touching moment here that probably would take a lot of CGI or budget, I guess. Ooh. I don't know exactly how these budgets work, where they're like, oh, it cost us a lot of money to make this.
Just from what you're saying, I'm thinking.
Image.
Just from what you're saying, I'm imagining a Harry and the Henderson moment with Ellie in a clicker where she's like, hi. And the clicker's like, and they become friends. They're like, hi, you're in there. I feel you. And they have like a moment where they can see. That's the kind of show I think I'm watching right now, Joe. That's the kind of show that I think I'm watching.
I think we had that moment in the basement of the other place.
Yeah, we did. And then she stabbed it in the head. Okay, so let's continue with area code 304.
HBO show. Why do you think they're kind of straying away from the violence? Like, I've noticed every time someone gets shot on the show that you don't see it, and it's like a cutaway. Like they're trying to not show you everything. And also, I would like to get Phil and Joe's opinion on what video game would you like to see as an HBO show. Thank you, guys, and I've been enjoying, and I'll be in the comments. Thanks.
Thank you, buddy. And the first part of the question was, why do we think they're cutting away from the violence and stuff? I hope they lean into it a little bit more. I like the graphic.
They really should. It's one of the things that makes the game,
and it's one of the things that makes HBO what HBO is too. Having having no filter in the violence. Shows like Oz, The Sopranos, Game of Thrones made their bones on being. And even House of the Dragon, too, still consistent.
I think they're just trying to appeal to the widest audience they possibly can.
And the other half of that question, I'm curious about this one from your perspective, Joe, because I've said this a few times. Obviously, I'm a little bit of a Nintendo slut, and there's a lot of Nintendo properties I wouldn't mind. I mentioned this last time. I'd like to see a Metroid game, an HBO sci-fi bounty hunter Metroid Samus Aran series. That would be awesome. Do you have any other video games that you've played through that pop out to you? I know they are making a Horizon game show at some point. Is that a story you'd like to see a show of? Anything else?
I don't know how compelling the story is, and the game is kind of slow because there's a lot of farming shit and side stupid quests like my uncle went fishing and he hasn't been home in 3 weeks. Can you find him? Yes, let me stop saving the world so I can go find your uncle. And then when you get back and it's like, oh, great, thanks for the bow that's useless that I already found a better one, in my travels. But it'd be fun to watch, I guess. I wouldn't expect too much from it. I wouldn't be like, can't wait for it or anything like that. I'm not sure this was the one that I've been waiting for a long time.
Yeah, is there any other game that you could think of? I mean, we talked about this a little bit a couple weeks ago. Any of the Telltale games that you would like to see as an HBO series?
Oh yeah, like there's A Wolf Among Us would play really well.
I agree.
I'd like to see the lost chapters of the Game of Thrones, redone with the 7 or 8 years ago. Put those in the game.
Yeah.
And then finish the game. Finish my fucking seasons.
Clementine's story. Who are these? AK says, who are these women that keep flashing on the screen? The women that keep flashing on my screen accidentally are Carmela Soprano and Gloria Trillo from The Sopranos, because Matt and I were just doing our Sopranos recap on Live Watch the other night, so it's still saved in the queue of my pictures on the live stream. So any Sopranos fans that want to go check that out, myself and Big Daddy Matt were talking about that Sopranos episode. So that's why I randomly keep accidentally popping up a Sopranos picture when I mean to click on this picture. So that's the truth. AK agrees with you. Wolf Among Us would be so good. Love that game. Fable. Someone says The Sopranos, Donkey Kong. The Mario Kart with Pedro. I would absolutely love. It's a Star Wars thing, so I guess it would be on Disney Plus. But I've said this before. I would like Knights of the Old Republic at some point as a game.
That's a cop out.
Mass Effect.
Because that's already Star Wars is already a thing. That's
but that's a game.
No. Hold on.
It's a game.
Hold on. It wasn't a game, but it was always in the meat. It started. It was already It was adapted to become a game.
My God.
You don't then unadapt it to become. It's all the universe already exists. Like you don't have to do anything for that. That's a cop out answer. If you choose Star Wars, it's like I want to see the Back to the Future game made a movie.
Back to the Future game sucks. Oh, you meant the Telltale game? Okay, fine. Yeah, I want to.
Right? Like, come on. Like this. Like
I want to see the
ET game made a movie.
I want to see the Batman. I want to see the Batman.
Right,
Telltale
like
game.
Batman Arkham made into a movie. Like, come on.
You're
like
such a dick.
Those
Okay.
are cop-out answers.
Do you think GTA would make a good movie or an HBO series?
I think it could.
GTA 5 with like those three characters with Trevor, Michael, and what's his name?
What's the movie? It's just someone going around being a fucking piece of shit all day long, right? Like
they'd have to do something more with it. They would have to be more like Grand Theft Auto 4's story, like a more in-depth story of some sort.
Where you're a piece of shit who
in the fourth game you're technically not a piece of shit completely. That's part.
You are.
No, in the fourth game you're that dude that gets wrapped up in things of it.
I mean, and that's kind of like what's that like this like let's make the Mafia games a movie.
Let's make the Godfather video game.
Right. Like
Bully would be a pretty good one, but I don't know. Resistance Follows Men. A Grand Theft Auto show would be trash, says Killmonger. AK says, low-key, Wolf Among Us. Fables would be more violent. Once Upon a Time, but I would still watch. Joel and Ellie's sitcom, Let Me Tell You About My Best Friend. Michael Hurst says, 2 episodes without the threat of infected. Loving the show. Don't want it turning into The Walking Dead where the walkers are no longer a threat until it's needed.
I know, and we haven't even they were never a threat like so far. The threat was like for like the opening scene. Like it's kind of sad.
I mean, the big one.
Even though Tess got bit, right? Tess.
Yeah. At least we got it. Yeah, we got that scene with Tess and stuff. I mean, obviously, I would like to see a Zelda thing, but I don't think that would be an adult HBO kind of thing. That would be more of a again, a Disney Plus thing probably, or Nintendo putting out a movie on their own. So, I mean, we got the Warcraft movie. I'm trying to think what else would be
StarCraft.
Would you want to see a StarCraft like a complete alien, a big alien, like an Alien versus Predator kind of movie, set up with the 3 races from StarCraft?
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see the Zerg on screen.
I mean, but like, haven't we? In like
yes,
Starship Troopers or anything,
or
else,
this, or even in this with the fast zombies. I mean, the Protoss would be interesting on screen, I guess.
I mean, oh sure. I mean, Battleship Earth.
God of War is happening. They're definitely doing
I kind of wanted to say like God of, but like, how about
that's happening? I mean, they're doing it.
tried to play God of War 3. I played
More.
it for
How
like
about more Tomb
10
Raider?
minutes and was like,
How
done.
about more Tomb Raider? Could they do that right?
Have they? They've made what, 4 movies with 2 different actresses?
Right, but could they do it right? It's set up. You make an Indiana Jones movie. How hard is that?
But it right, and that's what they kind of did, and it didn't work.
Yeah,
right? Like
yes.
Charlemagne. Come on.
Anyways, let's continue with our voicemails here before we get into our recap. This is from area code 773.
It's Roger Snell, your favorite prospect, or probably your least favorite person. Who knows? Anyway,
we love
I
you.
want to ask Joe a question. It is a spoiler, so I will try to mask it as hard as I possibly can to the point where I might explode, and you probably won't miss me for it. Joe, if you and I got into a fight in like a pond or a river, and maybe I took a bite into your hand, and you were about to let me die, would you let me die? You have your hands on my throat, about to kill me, but I bite your hand, if you will. I bite a piece of you. Would you let me live, or would you kill me?
Well, why are we fighting? Why are I drowning you, and why are you biting me? I don't know. There's a lot that goes into this, but on the face of it, I'm going to say I continue to drown you and hopefully don't like stop just because you're gnawing into my hand. But if the pain gets too much, maybe I stop drowning you and, you know, for a moment and then continue to drown you, or I don't know, maybe I try to, like, with my other hand, remove your eyeballs. I don't know. This is all very strange question.
Heineken says I should kill the guy just leaving that voicemail.
I'm not sure where in the game this goes to.
Okay, so in fair, it might have been a spoiler, but it's not clear because Joe doesn't even know what you're talking about. Sonic says Conker's Bad Fur Day would make an interesting one. Jetpack Dino and Captain Ply. That's my
talking about The Last of Us 2. Oh, right. Okay.
Okay, but we'll wait on that to talk about that later in our spoiler cast.
Yeah, like there's a lot that goes into that too.
Yeah, as we said, Joe and I will do a spoiler cast at some point in time. And just to say, someone said Mass Effect. Mass Effect is a real answer. I would absolutely love seeing a Mass Effect movie of some sort. This is from The Voice at 916.
Hello again. This is The Voice at 916.
Okay, wait.
Yes.
I'm going to say this.
Yes, Joe Pesci.
So,
okay.
I'm having a little bit of trouble. I want to address this real quick because what you're getting at is, so I was involved in an incident where someone put their fucking fingers in my mouth during a
was that at work?
Altercation. Yeah, and yes, and during this, I said to myself in the half a second, I can either, bite down hard and prevent this person from fish hooking me and ripping my cheek open, or I can let them rip my cheek open. So I bit them as hard as I could and felt things gush from their finger. And you know what they did immediately? When I stopped biting, they removed their hand from my face.
It worked?
Correct. It takes a lot, it's a lot of pressure. It's a bite. It hurts.
Ooh.
If you break skin and you bite someone, it fucking hurts. Like, I had to take a bunch of fucking prophylactic pills and shit.
No, it hurts. If anyone's ever been bitten by a dog or a human or something,
I've been bitten before too and had skin broken. Like, it does hurt, and like if you do it right, like you're gonna really hurt someone. They're gonna stop doing and respond to that pain sensation most of the time.
Jackie says, nah, man, if someone's trying to kill me, I'm getting them first. Bite be damned. We got the wonderful, amazing, my buddy, Mandrell in the live chat. Great to see Mandrell. And Carla, me as well. The voice of 916 has me in its chokehold. I don't know why I said it like that, Carla, but I had to say it. I had to say it like that. And it's let's get into this for a second. It's time for some Railroad. Okay, here we go. Let's get into our next voicemail. The voice at 916.
Hello again. This is the voice at 916. I was just thinking, what happened to the intro? That was one of the better parts of all the episodes we've seen thus far. They could have even put the whole thing with Catherine, or Kathleen, or whatever her name is, as an...
I'm sorry. I love the way you said that. That was unusually comic with your usual approach. It's just like, I don't know, whatever the hell her name is. I gotta hear that again. Sorry, caller from 916. Sorry, voice from 916. I have to rewind that. That was hilarious.
Even put the whole thing with Catherine, or Kathleen, or whatever her name is, as an intro, as opposed to
I love
making
the way she
it
said
be the
that.
whole episode. And also, the music was so haunting last episode. I mean, I can't even think of Long Time without almost tearing up. And thinking
That
of
song's
the
in the game
episode,
too.
why didn't they use some sort of music to complement the episode to make it more memorable? You know, and or why not even use the episode as a world building, showing us, you know, how dangerous the environment is, what is this fungus pollen, and things like that, instead of just, as someone said, a nothing burger. What's up with that?
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you. Bye-bye.
You are very welcome. I don't know why I'm playing with my hair all of a sudden, but I just have to.
So the song that's featured in there when they're driving, right before they get to Kansas
Yeah,
City.
that's in the game, right? Correct. AK says to you, Joe, depends on where the bite is, though, Joe. I got bit in a fight before, but didn't realize it until after I was done beating the side of the chick's face in.
It also depends on how hard and for how long they bite you.
Yes, it's true. It is absolutely.
And yes, where they bite you as well.
And let's read our text messenger. And as I mentioned, if I miss your message in the live chat, you can always text in at 781-990-8509. This is from Slim in the live chat. Says, from the chat, I'm texting this week because I had a few brewskis tonight, but this episode just solidifies why I hated last week's episode. They're simultaneously moving too slow and too fast at the same time. We really needed 2 seasons.
Yes.
2 seasons for the first game to set everything up. My good buddy and friend of the show and my other podcasting partner, Tony, also said this as a fan of the game, Joe, that he would have loved them to do 2 seasons for the first game. Do you think
the first game could have been done in 1 season if they hadn't strayed a little too much?
But now that we're 4 episodes in, aren't you wishing that we got 2 seasons for the first season? Do you feel like
of course, but like also in that respect, I don't want to have to fuck 2 seasons. What happened to 20 episodes a year?
Joe, I am so fucking with you. I'm rewatching some older shows, and I'm rewatching even shitty shows, not shitty, but a show like Prison Break right now. And there's like
sitcoms or even 26 episodes.
But forget sitcoms. A show like fucking Prison Break or Lost or here, like those were like
Law and Order, 20 episodes.
Long ass seasons. Long ass seasons. Sopranos were 13 episodes at least or something. But anyways, George R. R. Martin goes on a very good rant in that. But let's finish this this text. We have 5 episodes left. That's all I need is an hour and a half now to really set it up for everything that's supposed to happen. Joel, Ellie, and the Affected need to be at the forefront, and we're virtually getting none of this. This was another setup episode, and it would have hit a lot harder if these last 2 episodes had been portrayed better. Let's get back to our voicemails before we get into our recap. This is from area code 516.
Hey, Anthony from New York.
Carla Wayne, have a great day. Great. Thank you so much for checking on in, our wonderful friend, as always. And if you haven't already and you're in this live chat, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and push this out. Help us get to more people and join on in for the full seasons of discussions of The Last of Us. Joe and I will be here this season, next season, talking about The Last of Us as long as it's a show.
That's the first time calling in. I wanted to say,
welcome.
It was interesting. It was an interesting episode. I'm curious what you guys make of the fact that. First of all, I wish it was a little bit of a longer of an episode. I'm a little selfish in that way. But
I'm gonna go back and play the beginning of your message just because I want to get something in the chat before it rolls by. After the first writer's strike many moons ago, that's where everything changed. You were so fucking right, AK. It was literally, people don't realize that it was season 3 of Heroes, season 3 of Prison Break. Oz fell victim of it. Lost fell victim of it too. A lot of shows at the time, like television and
Sopranos, right?
Sopranos as well. Yeah, that's why Oz lasted like 2 seasons and sort of stretched out and ruined Oz in a weird way too. That writer's strike, the one you're talking about, AK, killed television in a lot of ways, especially, and it helped institute prestige television that later on, but sort of changed the game. And then I blame Westworld for the more than 1 year in between stuff. Westworld was the first show to go, we're going to take as long as it takes between seasons.
No.
Sopranos kind of did it, but not like.
Breaking Bad did it.
Breaking Bad came back every year.
And fucking.
But Jackie's agreeing with you. I must be wrong. Breaking Bad did it too.
A few had done it first.
Vince Gilligan never does anything wrong. Shush. No, I'm kidding, guys. Here we go. Let's get sorry, Anthony, for screwing up your first call. Anthony's like, I called in for the very first time, and they keep playing my message and stopping it. What a bunch of fucking assholes. No, I'm kidding. Here we go.
Hey, Anthony from New York. It's the first time calling in. I wanted to say, it was interesting. It was an interesting episode. I'm curious what you guys make of the fact that, first of all, I wish it was a little bit of a longer of an episode. I'm a little selfish in that way. But when it comes to when Henry and Sam sort of stumble upon, or when they're holding up Ellie and Joel at the end, it's a departure from the game, right? In the game, they run into one another, but Henry sort of immediately understands that they are not part of this group that's funding them.
He attacks them, and as they're fighting, he sees that Ellie's with them, so he knows that he's not with them.
Yeah,
and he tells his brother to put down the gun.
Yep, that's how it went. I'll play the rest of your message, but David, to answer your question, do I think Jackie Chan will be in season 6 of Cobra Kai? No. I think Hilary Swank will be, but I don't think Jackie Chan will be. They might find a way to give him a random cameo as like a judge in the All Valley tournament or something like that, but the character itself won't be. Ralph Macchio actually talked about this, and I did a video on it. You can find it on the channel where he addressed it. He said, no. Mr. Han won't be there because that's a spinoff, so it's a different alternate universe from the Karate Kid world. I think you will see Hilary Swank. You possibly see Jackie Chan do a cameo, like him as a judge of the All Valley tournament or something, or some random cameo on a television commercial or something. But I don't think you're going to see his character or Jaden Smith's character in the final season of Cobra Kai. Sorry for the quick. So someone asked a Cobra Kai comment. I couldn't help it. I had to answer David. So let's finish the rest of Anthony's message.
I'm just curious what their intentions are. I'm curious what do you guys think they're going to be sort of wanting to find out about Joel and Ellie? In the game, because Ellie is there, they know that like that group doesn't keep kids. It seems like this is a bit of a different group. So maybe that's not an indicator like it was in the game. But I'm curious in terms of the stick up that they're doing at the very end, what you think they're going to want to learn from Joel and Ellie before they sort of trust and journey on with them, if that's what happens with those characters in the show. So there. Looking forward to hearing what you guys say.
Great call. Great first call. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're subscribed and join us for the rest of the season. So what kind of information, if you, let's take this as a different way, Joe. If you're out in this zombie world or this apocalyptic environment, what do you need to hear from new people? Do you have a series of questions? Do you have new questions to ask? What do you think is going to, how do you think the series of events is going to go from this point on, where they're holding them at gunpoint? Joel's not going to be okay with that. You also have to worry about Joel being okay with being held at gunpoint in this situation. How do you think the situation goes moving forward to get to a point where these four people trust each other? No spoilers, yes.
Honestly, it doesn't really.
And no spoilers, because these are entirely new characters.
There's not something I really worry about them not being able to accomplish in their writing. You just simply, for whatever reason, put the gun down, right? Like, and start talking, and you realize they're running and you're running, and you both all want to get out of this fucking town.
Yeah.
Right?
And
so,
and also the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and it's going to be very clear that that Charlie's neighbor there, what's her name, Kathleen, is going to be blaming Ellie and Joel for what they did and wrap them all around the same sort of "I hate you" ribbon as they have with Henry and his brother. So it's going to be, they're not going to have a choice, because even if they're arguing going against each other, Kathleen and her forces are going to show up, and it's going to require them to bond together to be able to handle that sort of adversary. So I think it's going to be a situation where they're going to have no choice and then trust each other just from the merit of the actions of the situation themselves, like when they see what each other can do and seeing how they're defending each other.
Okay, so here's the thing. After this episode and the way they played out Kansas City,
going to Kansas City,
which is Pittsburgh, I guess, but like going forward from here, I'm really worried how they do this. Like, there's a lot of like cool shit that I feel like we're not gonna get.
No, we are.
Like, we've already, all this talk about where are the clickers, where are the runners, where are the fucking, where. Like, there's a lot of action that we've missed out on from like a gamer's point of view looking at this series.
Now,
like a lot.
Well, hopefully that won't be the case, but Joe, we're gonna not to lose your train of thought, but just so we don't go too far into it, you know what?
No. So, but what I'm about to get at is that there's a lot of what comes next, right, with these characters is also downtime to get to know them in the game, but it's also a fair amount of the same action that you do repeatedly in the game. So I'm looking at what's coming next as them saying again, we need to character develop, and it's just more of the same action that we've taken out because the gamers already know all that action. So we're really trying to do this of what we've seen in the last two episodes.
Torf is asking or saying, are they purposely removing the action, or are they?
I feel like they are.
Are they yada-yadaing that a little bit?
Yes.
Because they're thinking that the important part is the human element. So why do we need the action?
In which case, I'm feeling like
you're worried.
I'm really worried as to, are we going to get these two characters for 1 or 2 episodes?
The only thing I'm going to say to you, Joe, is don't be Chicken Little yet, because here's
the thing. If we get them for 2 episodes, that means we don't leave Kansas City for 3 episodes, which puts us at episode fucking 6 before we're
and then we have 3 more episodes. Yes,
to like for a lot of fucking shit.
Maybe it's only half of next week's episode.
And in which case, almost like, why even put them in the fucking show to begin with?
Or why not make it all? Or why not make it all one episode? Like all tonight's episode handled the whole thing.
If you're gonna do this bullshit 9 episodes, make them all an hour and a half.
Yeah,
stop. Like, this was bullshit. 45 minutes, 47 minutes, whatever the fuck it was, bullshit.
Lars,
and from the more we've talked about this episode and our feelings about it and the things around it and some of these questions and comments from the voicemail, the more my outlook for what's to come is not.
And the only thing I'm saying is so far we're 3 out of 4 for the most part for me, and some people did feel this episode, but so let's wait till next week before we call.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's right. They're putting the DLC content in too. They're putting the fucking Left Behind shit in. So that's going to be a whole episode of fucking a little Ellie backstory for us. That is an afterthought from the original game.
Right. That
so
will probably
not even giving us just game 1. They're giving us game 1, and of those 9 episodes, they're going to take at least one of the episodes.
I'm guessing that will be episode.
The Left Behind content, which is now you got 8. This is, and don't get me wrong, the Left Behind content is great, and I loved it, and it's a great part of the story.
I'm guessing that's probably going to be
great, but
I'm guessing that's probably going to be episode 8. It'll probably be episode 8.
Fuck, Sonic, you bastard.
Regime ads. Can people remember this is a show, not a video game? Doing the same thing over takes away from the show.
Correct.
And let's go. We got Igor in the live chat. We got another super chat donation from Luna. It says, not seeing the infected at whatever level of infection is like the Night King being killed in one episode.
I'm feeling a lot like, it does. It feels a lot like, okay, we've talked about the infector. Now forget about him.
But Joe, do you know what time it is? It's time to recap the shit.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time for the recap here. Let's get into this episode. We're not changing it up. We still got some voicemails. You can still call in. I just wanted to make sure to get to talking about this episode before it gets too late here. It's time for that recap. Whew, let's play this music again. I'm tired. And our super chat landed on push-ups, so I did some push-ups for you.
Fuck that.
Or as Joe calls me out, and I don't really do push-ups. I more do like a plank-like thing. That's like resembles a push-up. I don't think I actually do real push-ups. Whew. Do a backflip. I'll try that if Joe promises if I fall and don't get up, he'll make sure he comes over here to revive me.
Yeah, I'll call 911 for you.
Okay, good. Perfect. AK, get us that job. Get us that damn job, and I'll do it every single fucking day. And I'll even stop saying fuck. Every gosh dang day I could do it. Hey, bloody.
But they should just put us on on HBO, and then we don't have to stop saying.
It's
fuck.
true. It's true. If they could stop with whatever they're doing with that actual podcast, put you, me.
I don't even know. Like, blow our own asses. Like, put some truth on.
Yeah, give me some truth.
Put actual fans on that are talking about your shit, not like the fucking.
That's what I liked about The Talking Dead when it first started. You'd have like someone like Slash that would come on there and be like, I didn't really like this episode, and then they just stopped inviting him back.
They stopped inviting people back who were like down on an episode. Yep.
And hey guys, just finished the episode with the wife. I thought it was great.
And then they just stopped having fans on altogether, and it was basically just cast members and producers.
Yeah, a big fart smelling echo chamber.
Explaining why they fucking suck.
But Joe, if they're gonna pay us, I'll do a fart smelling echo chamber too. This was the greatest episode of all time. I loved it. We could say it.
No, I couldn't do that.
No, but I could do it. I could fake it and do in such.
I wouldn't want. No, that's not what we do.
Joe, I'd be like, come on, man.
That's not what we do.
Okay, fine.
Not what we do.
I want to get paid too.
Hey, that's just not.
No,
Joe. I'd call in and leave the voicemail.
No,
that's not the right show.
You miss what
you gotta rename it.
you miss what I'm saying. I'm not saying to actually do a real version of that. I'm essentially saying that if we got those kind of positions, I would want to do. And I know you don't watch other like YouTube type stuff that often, but there's a channel called Red Letter Media that did a podcast called the Nerd Crew podcast, which they were just making fun of other like podcasts. Like, oh my God, we love everything. Oh my God, invite us to this. And they're doing it in a way that's so obvious, but some might not know. Some people watch those videos. Oh, the Nerd Crew, that's real. But no, it's not. And I can see us doing a version of that, like a Talking Dead version where oh, this was the greatest episode. This totally didn't just take 10 years off my life. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. I want to be invited to those parties. Yeah, get me into the parties. You know, that kind of stuff. Exactly, Heineken. Tell me to dance. I'll dance, you know.
Hey, no, I'm all for, whoring myself out for a buck.
Yeah, Joe wants me to make a living at this. Joe wants me to...
But I'm just saying, like, you want me to come and do a show, I'm going to do a show and do, but like, what show do you want me to do? I guess.
And yes,
not this. You don't want me to tell the truth? Okay.
To those of you in the live chat that know what the hell I'm talking about, I do miss the Nerd Crew videos. I hope they revisit that project again because it's freaking hilarious. And Red Letter Media is the greatest channel on YouTube. I love those guys. They crack me up constantly. Anyways, so yeah, I think David, you, Joe, and I would be the amazing new Nerd Crew. We would do that incredible. We've got Joe, of course, is our oh my God. Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna end up quoting Red Letter Media for the rest of tonight. So anyways, the episode opens up, Joe, and we do have some voicemails. We're gonna get to you guys in 1 second. Keep calling on in tonight, 781-990-8509. Again, that number is 781-990-8509. Thank you to all of our live chatters tonight. Thanks to our channel members. Saw Pullier earlier, Heineken, our new channel member, Luna, who's Sonic, your boy, John Haymaker, and I love all of you guys, even if you're not channel members as well. But I just want to send some special love. But you can be; it's an option, and we appreciate it. We do try to give you guys a little extra, but we do appreciate it just as sort of like a donation service. We appreciate it, so I give you as many little perks and bonuses as we can with the little things, with the little emojis. Some for if you're nice, whatever. Like I said, I'll do anything to do this for a living. I would do anything to do it for a living. Okay, so Ellie is drawing the gun in the mirror, doing her best Emilio Estevez in Young Guns. I'll make you famous. And looking at the bullet, taking it in and out, shooting the gun, firing it. She loads it up, she packs it up, and she heads out to Joel. Is something like this in the game, Joe, with her looking in the mirror, taunting the gun, or is this is all created stuff?
What?
Yeah, the beginning of what? The beginning of the episode. It doesn't matter.
I was reading the chat and I
said she's like looking in the mirror and she's doing her best Billy the Kid from Young Guns.
Yeah, no, that's for TV.
Yeah, it's just a TV thing.
Kid being a kid, but she seems to know her way around the gun a little bit.
And we got a new channel member, Top Tier CJ. I think that means we can add a new emoji for next week. So thank you so much to we got 3 new channel members tonight. So much appreciate it. Jumping on in there for that for the 8th of support. Oh my God, upgrading his bag. And Top Tier CJ, thank you so much for that 8th of support. And yes, Sonic, your boy, sitting in the captain's chair. That's right, Jean-Luc. Even Sulu, yeah. So Ellie's drawing the gun. She's playing. She's looking. She's firing it. We get a great landscape shot as she heads out to Joel. She asks him if they have to fill up gas all the time, and they talk about siphoning gas and how it works and not. She pulls out a book and starts reading shitty puns about mermaids and algebra. And the sun dawned on me, and she taunts him more with more quotes. They keep driving with the storm in the past. I think this is all really great visual stuff. It looks really neat, but it is slow.
She gets to see the tanks and she gets to see the destruction and shit.
Yeah,
and we get to see it,
and it works. I think it all works. I think this stuff wouldn't seem slower to me in retrospect if there was more of a bang later in the episode, but it was more of a.
Or if you got to go right into the next episode.
Yeah. Are you drinking? Oh, I was like, are you drinking beer? No, I was like, no, you're drinking soda.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, after our oh wow, it's been years, Joe.
Dude.
Oh my god, you're back on the Coke.
2 cans dead, and I'm on the 3rd can.
I
I'm
love
enjoying
it,
this can.
dude. Dude. Excuse me for 1 second. I'm joining you with all this vodka drinking. Garth, take it over for a second, Garth.
Oh my God, he's getting vodka and Coke. You know, I haven't drank Coca-Cola in a long time. A long time. And I happened to myself a case of cans, and they're going quick. But anyway, a lot of this stuff that Joel and Ellie are doing here in the truck is what happens throughout the game. It's pretty fun watching them do it live action, actually. And the conversation is pretty dead on. Features the song from the game. The whole truck drive, though, plays out better in the game.
I mean, we do get to see the visual, though. And
the board spots, too, with the pun jokes coming out. All this I kind of really like. It plays well. They have a long time on the road together, and to just skip over it wouldn't feel right.
I know, but where do they start up in Kansas City? So, hey Alexa, how long does it take to drive from Boston to Kansas City?
2 or 3 days.
22 hours and 11 minutes, actually. So it's not
I thought it said 32.
Did it say 32? So it's not that as far as I'm thinking, I guess, then. So it would be just a couple of days. Okay, so it seems like that amount of time made sense.
And you got to remember, he can't do it all straight out either.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. Excuse me for 1 second. Yeah, that felt good. I love this Coca-Cola. No, the Coca-Cola made me happy because one of Joe and I's first, it seems trivial, but when we first became friends, one of our connective tissues was our mutual love for Coca-Cola. And then Joe fell off the Coke hard at one point in time, and I was still on it.
From the agita.
Yep, and I've been off it for a while, but I always keep a couple in the kitchen just in case for a little energy burst. I'm about to jump around for a second. Recap. Holy shit, we got a really huge super chat donation tonight from Jetpack Dino, which makes me think of Jet Rock Reno. What was that? It's a Genesis game called something like that, like Jetpack Gino. Or thank you so much for giving me a place to talk about this show. My husband likes the show, but doesn't want to talk about it for an hour or two like you guys. Thank you so much. I will probably be close to the 3 hours tonight. But yes, 100%. And I think that's part of the reason why Joe and I do this is because neither one of us, no one wants to hear us babble about any show like this for a few hours afterwards, and we both have the piss and vinegar to want to talk about it. So we appreciate you all giving us a place and an environment to be able to have some fun and chat about this show. And we're going to get to our voicemails. We have 5 voicemails in the tank right now. We'll get to all of our voicemails before the end of the night, but let me zip through a little bit more of this recap. So they keep driving off in the storm of the past, and this recap's going to be a little quicker because not a lot happens here. She sees the tanks, and she's like, oh, cool. She pulls out a tape. We get a cassette tape, and she plays this song. What song was this again? It was from the game. Joe, do you know what the name of the song is?
No.
It was what's his name? The name of the artist, though, is people in the live chat. Someone will tell us in the live chat. Name of the song and the artist. Was it like Randy Williams or something like that? Or something like that. I gave up sugar completely. I only drink Coke Zero and Pepsi Zero. Coke Zero, I basically drank Coke Zero for a few years there. It was my drink. If I go into restaurants or fountain-wise, Sprite's my drink. Sprite, no ice. Hank Williams, thank you. And thank you so much for that super chat donation. Jetpack Dino means more than you know. Helps us keep being able to do this. Anthony Perez says, this is the first episode that made me wonder, are they running too much from being a game in order to be seen as a premium drama?
Yes.
Need more action.
I feel that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, that's one of the things you got to worry about in general, that now that every show is going to want to be a little bit more depthful than it necessarily has to be. Again, this episode is the first episode to make me worry about this. The first 3 didn't. So I'm holding out that this was a one-shot deal, that this was initially this is my headcanon about this episode. that initially in concept, this was supposed to be 1 episode, but they decided to make it 2. And for whatever reason, at some point, and they stretched it. It should have probably just been 1 tightly edited episode with this week and next week. But I'm going to hold out till we see next week. But that's what I'm thinking. And instead, for whatever reason, they decided to stretch it to 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
And yes, I will not have that hate speech pro Pepsi talk in my live chat. I'll block you. You can say anything else you want in my live chat. If you start trying to tell me Pepsi's better than Coke, I'm blocking people. I will give you the power, Jackie, as a moderator to time out people. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. I'm giving you permission to do that. Don't really do it. To time out those motherfuckers that claim Pepsi's better than Coke. No, I do like Diet Pepsi better than Diet Coke, though, whatever that's worth. Okay, anyways, I'll continue. She wants to see a tank. She sees the tank. She pulls out the dirty magazine. She makes a joke about the pages stuck together, and she laughs, and she throws it out. And we see some cattle. We hear that great old song. We get that visual from the car that I mentioned earlier, and they decide that it's been a night traveling. They're going to spend the night in the forest. They go to the magic tree in Fangor Forest to go pee. No, to go spend the evening. They cook up some stew, or it's not stew. It's Chef Boyardee that's still good after 20 years. I'm willing to bet SpaghettiOs and Chef Boyardee would probably still be edible after 20 years. That stuff seems like it could survive the nuclear winter.
No, Heather. They are all over the fucking place in the game. Locked in all sorts of fucking rooms, like everywhere.
Heineken, and yes, I will 100%. Let's do that. We'll do this on a live stream. I'll do the Pepsi Coke taste test challenge. See if I can tell the difference. I can
absolutely tell the difference.
I could kill that. I would destroy that competition.
There's a complete difference.
100%.
Even throw in a cola.
Throw in RC Cola. I'll
any cola, and I'll tell you which is the cola. Which is the Pepsi and Coke.
Oh yeah, I want to say that. A couple people have said that in the live chat tonight. Igor just said it too, and someone else said it earlier a couple times in the live chat, and I haven't been able to verify this information, but apparently, Joe, we might be doing this podcast on Saturday or Friday or something. No, when you get out of work, or maybe we'll still do it on Sunday. I think that people are saying that they're dropping the episode early. Perhaps because of the Super Bowl?
Yes.
I'm guessing that maybe if they're doing it...
Without a doubt. They're not going up against the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah, they don't want to do that.
Nobody wants to go up against the Super Bowl. They don't want their numbers to get...
So if they do drop it on Friday, maybe Joe and I will do this on Saturday or Friday evening when Joe gets out of work.
We'll do it whenever they're dropping it. We're doing it right
after. If they do it Friday, if they drop the episode on Friday, we'll do it Friday evening when Joe gets out of work. And if they drop it on Saturday, we'll do it on Saturday. So people saying, yeah, everyone say, consider me Red Lips. I love you, Red Lips. Consider me blocked. I'm a Pepsi girl. I know it's a taste difference. I'm just, Coke's better.
A Fresca, Jackie. Oh.
Honestly, at this point, I don't drink any soda. I somehow converted myself to seltzer person. I drink these like grape, no calorie seltzer things and they're fucking delicious. They taste like grape soda to me. They're fucking amazing.
High C orange. High C orange a lot lately.
Someone says Friday at 9 p.m. So yeah, I will be on Friday night at around 10:30, 11 o'clock then. I guess talking about the episode. No Sunday. We'll be on for our next recap on Friday then, right, Joe? We got Sunday off now. We can watch the Super Bowl.
I'm not watching that fucking thing.
Yeah, I don't even have the channel for it. So, okay.
No, fuck that.
So let's continue. So they eat some Chef Boyardee after 20 years. She wants
Patriots aren't playing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, neither the Raiders, the 49ers. We got Eagles and Kansas City. Oh, that's the other thing. They don't want to.
It's not a Super Bowl unless Tom Brady's in it.
Oh, stop.
Or the Patriots, one or the other.
Phil seems like a Fresca guy. What are you saying? I'm like the Deep? Are you saying if I was one of the boys, if I was one of the superheroes of the boys, I'd be the Deep? Okay, that tracks. I'd probably be the Deep. I'd probably be the Deep. I'm no Homelander. Anyways, I work evening shifts. I might miss Friday night show. We will definitely try to, but we will. That was a joke about the boys. All those rebels in Kansas City are Chief fans. Exactly, Puzzle. That's why they're doing it. That's why they decided to stretch the episode.
Oh yeah, they knew. They knew.
Yeah, they knew it was good at Kansas City. That's why they picked Kansas City. Okay, so yeah, they have their Chef Boyardee. She wants to start a fire, but he says no. She goes, why? The infected? He goes, no, the fungus are too dumb for something like that, but it's too remote out here, but people will rob us and do worse than that. It's bedtime. They talk back and forth about how well the blankets smell because they're the dude from last week's, and they continue with her pun book. Joel, she asks a serious question and the scarecrow joke because he was outstanding in his field. Joel cuts her off. She's like, Dick, did you read this? It's bedtime. She asks him about the worst people, and he says, don't worry, you're not going to have to find out. They fall asleep. We see something in the dark.
Didn't she ask him something about his past there?
She kind of mentions, did you ever kill people for fun? Or not fun. Did you ever kill good people?
Is this the point she asks that?
Basically, it's right there, I think.
Like, what happened to rule number 1, Joel? Keep our histories to ourselves.
Shut up. Listen, Heineken, you got to do what you got to do. You know, you gotta survive in this world sometimes. Ellie wakes up to Joel pack. No, it is. It's actually later when he puts out the glass, Joe. It's the later scene, but we just talked about that now. So Ellie wakes up to Joel packing up the car and making coffee. She's like grossed out by coffee.
Oh, the coffee.
Joe, were you
What the fuck is that?
I'm still gross. I'm still grossed out by coffee. This is not.
Oh, I drink that shit black.
I know
the
you're
darkest gross possible.
You
and
mainline coffee.
And I drink like at least 2-3 liters a day.
Were you grossed out by coffee the first time you drank it though?
Coffee had an evolution for me about how I used to put sugar in it, and then I went to Splenda, and then I went back to sugar, and it didn't work, and I had creams and stuff. No, but eventually I got to black, and it was like, oh my god, it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. Straight black coffee, dark roast, Italian roast, French roast, super dark roast.
Do you still drink it as ice?
Yeah, as long as it's black.
Yeah. He goes to the store, will get a cup of ice, or do you make it at home at this point?
I make it at home. I just brew it home.
Sonic, I'm with you. Coffee never hooked me. Laura says, I hated coffee for years. Now I have one a day. And I drink coffee with half and half, no sugar. It just never hooked me. Caffeine hooked me because of soda and tea. I like tea sometimes, but coffee never quite grabbed me.
Yeah, it was. I don't know why I started drinking coffee instead of soda. Probably had to do with what was open at
or just where we were hanging out, or we were hanging out as a friend group. Our friend group hung out in the Starbucks and the Dunkin' Donuts parking lots and shit. Yeah. You know, and we were sneaking out and going to Dunkin' Donuts late nights and shit like that. I mean, that was our bit. We had so little to do that we were killing clickers and going to Dunkin' Donuts. That was basically our life at that point in time. Okay, so Ellie wakes up to Joel packing up the car. She hates the coffee. They talk more about finding Cody, Wyoming. She asks the brother's name and his story, how they got separated. Joel tells her, and is this stuff, this feels like it's from the game stuff, where he says, Tommy's a hero, he wants to be a hero, join Marlene and the Fireflies.
Yeah, that's kind of basically the Tommy backstory we get.
Yeah, that seemed like it was picked, me not knowing any difference, this part seemed like it was picked directly from the game. So,
yeah.
He wants to save the world. She says, if you have no hope, why keep going? And he calls her cargo and says Tess was family, and he has to do this for Tess.
This is the part. He should have been like, dude, keep your fucking histories to ourselves. She's getting all personal and shit.
No, she's breaking him down. She's definitely breaking him down. Excuse me. Yeah, Jackie, basically for for many years, our whole friend group hung out in the goddamn Starbucks parking lot, and down the beach, at the end of the beach, and in Dunkin' Donuts and Bickford's for a while too, like hanging out in the sitting down and hanging out in Bickford's, like for literally for the whole day.
Order some bottomless
like
coffee.
manipulating a table for 12 hours a day between everybody at Bickford's, like it's the Peach Pit, basically.
Yeah.
And I think the most out of all those places by the end was the Starbucks parking lot. I don't know why, but it was everyone just hung out in the Starbucks parking lot for 9 hours a day.
Yeah, slim, man. That's exactly how I like it, man. Dark and bitter.
And Sonic,
like my wife,
like your Katie. So she's not home from work yet, is she? So
no, she's in the other room.
So Slip and Jimmy needs to slide into the story. So we find out more about this. She says, "If you have no hope, why keep going?" Calls her cargo, and suddenly we're in traffic where people have ditched their cars. He tells Ellie to stay in the car, and he looks around with a gun. The tunnel's blocked off, so they're going to go around and just go around the tunnel. Joel makes a stupid mistake here by not just wanting to go back far enough to just go around the tunnel. He just wants to avoid the tunnel. He just like drives around on the off roads. And she sees the OZ, and she's like, wait, is this? And they see that the Fedra's not there, and it's being taken over by a different group essentially. And then some person starts. It's a weird transition where it transitions quickly to someone waving the car down and being like, "Hey, help me, help me, help me!" And Joel,
Yeah, that's how it happens, man. That's how, just out of the blue, a hurt individual strolls out, like in a secluded, tight, hard to get out of area.
And yes, Ellie did ask about Starbucks. She's like people paid money for this shit back in the day. This is that coffee shit people fucking spent $11 at Starbucks for.
Fucking bucks.
Yep.
That's a hot commodity right there. Let me tell you.
Yep.
I bashed someone's head in with a
Bill,
spiked bat for a
he was so psyched.
shit.
Bill had. He wasn't happy Bill died and stuff, but he's happy to get all Bill's coffee for fuck's sake.
Oh yeah, and you know he's going back to Boston to get the rest of that shit at some point.
Jackie, I missed that summer of Saul so bad. We had so much fun. So he shoots one of the guys. The other guys are heading in, and Joel shoots his ass too. But another one comes in. They get into a fight. Dude is choking Joel out and is saying, "You fucked yourself here, dude. You fucked yourself here." And Ellie stealth sneaks over and shoots the guy. So again, does something like this happen in the game, Joe?
Yes, it's at a different point, but Joel's getting drowned in like a puddle in like a different kind of a building, a hotel or
and then
shit.
It weirdly, to go to your point, he sends Ellie out of the room, and then we cut the violence and we hear the guy screaming instead of seeing Joel bash this guy to death.
Yep. That's very strange, and that part doesn't happen.
He doesn't.
She
never
kills him.
So she actually kills him. It does it. So to go to our point from earlier, this is an active moment of something created that they made a choice to send Ellie out of the room to not see the violence.
Yeah, to give Joel a little bit more humanity or emotion of what
seem like
her
more of
experience might be.
Yeah, seem like more of a dad, I guess. Protect her, because a lot of this episode he's saying you don't have to deal with this. You shouldn't have had to see this. You shouldn't have had to kill people.
And Joel, you've been living in this world for 20 fucking years. Of course she has to see this. Of course she has to know what this world is. Of course she has to know.
Yeah.
Of course she has to know.
She went to school.
She has to have a gun. Of course she has to be able to protect herself. Of course you need to explain this shit to her if you want to get there with her still alive.
Yeah, and this dude's like, "Hey, I'm Brian. Let's be friends." And the dude gives over the knife, and it's a good knife. And Ellie walks away, and Joel ends his ass. So they head into a room, and he's like, "Dude, where'd you get the gun?" And she's like, "Oh, sorry." And he leads her out. We see some more trucks, and gangs of this city seem to be running it, not Fedra. So then we go off to Kathleen, interrogating somebody, a doctor apparently, reading a bunch of names, asking this guy if it's, I don't know, if he knows Henry. And this was just a weird transition to something we have no clue what was happening. again, I don't want to belabor the point because we've been very hard on the actress that's playing Kathleen. But I'm just gonna say, as a character and the way it was introduced in the scene, it came off.
It was fucking stupid.
It was very much. I know it's an overused expression, but it's very mustache twirling. I'm not just bringing
It was
up
cliche. It was cliche.
It was very Negan. Again, I'll say it again. It was very bad television Negan. Like, she was monologuing a little bit. She was not quite rhyming and saying hickory dickory dock, my bat shoves up your cock, or so. Wasn't saying shit like that, but was definitely bordering Neganisms a little bit. There's a little bit going on here, Joe.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go to the gimpleness, but she was Negan things up a little bit here. So she's reading a bunch of names, asking about Henry. She's asking, where's Henry? Where's Henry? Where's Henry? And she's like, I gave birth to you. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to lie to you. And Kathleen is shown the dead dudes from Joel and Kathleen and is like, maybe they're mercs. Maybe they're people that got sent here to help. And she's immediately convinced it's this other guy. It's Henry. Henry did this. I'm 100% sure this is Henry that did this.
Of course, because that's who she's already mad at and looking for. That's who she's grilling the doctor about in that room. Henry, or the doctor says it was Henry that told on her brother to Fedra and got your brother killed. So it's all about Henry.
And Johnny says, Johnny Night Train says, really, I thought he was just vague about getting shot and he hasn't told about the daughter quite yet. He hasn't.
Because here's the thing. This
you were right,
ambush
Johnny.
happened at the edge of fucking town.
Yep.
Right? What's wrong with you, lady? If it was Henry, and Henry's running for his life, and they found your fucking son dead at the end of fucking town, at the ambush site that you fucking sent him to, Henry just left town. Why are you having all your people search downtown where you're standing? All right, spread out and search all the buildings in the immediate area.
In the words of Mahler, it makes no sense. Laura says, this chat and you guys are the best. Made my day. Laura, I can speak for Joe as well. You guys and the fun that we get to have with you guys makes our day, makes the watching all the more fun. You guys are amazing. Kathleen is showing the dead dudes from Joel and Kathleen and blah, blah, blah. She starts talking shit about Henry, and then she... and all these wingnuts are blowing shit up, and she runs in and pulls a nutty and pulls a Kylo Ren and shoots the guy. Ellie says, no Fedra, no Fireflies. We cut over to get some exposition from Joel and Ellie. Ellie says, they're not Fedra. They're not Fireflies. Who are they, Joel? And Joel says, again, to do another Star Wars reference.
Ellie, I just fucking got here too. How the fuck do I know who they are?
but he
fucking assholes. Let's get the fuck out of here.
I know, they're fucking assholes. Let's leave Kansas City now. But no, he says the line from Rise of Skywalker. He's just like, they're just people, Ellie. They're just people.
Soylent Green.
Oh my God. So Joel and Ellie immediately formulate a plan. And when you don't hear a truck, we're going to run. That's our plan, Joe. Yep. I like that plan. I'm excited to be a part of this. So let's go. And that's why everyone's so mean. Lack of cigarettes. I 100% agree with that. I mean, you got to figure it. You got to, in coffee and other hippie substances. I mean, you got to figure that people are distilling moonshine like booze, so booze probably exists in some way.
All the drugs still exist
in some ways, probably in some ways. Okay, so they formulate a plan. She asks him if it's okay. He's all right. He painfully asks her back, and is she good? He apologizes for making her kill, and she's like, well, did I do good? And he's like, I know how hard it is for your first time. If you want to talk about it, I'm not good at this stuff. And he's like, no, you're not good at this stuff. And she's like, no, it's not my first time. And then this
exchange happens, but it happens differently.
This was my favorite part of the episode, actually. The way he shifts his mode, I just thought it was a good character moment. He shifts his mode. Once he hears she's actually killed somebody, he runs over to her and he starts training her on her grip. and showing her how to grip the gun right and ragging on the fact that she learned how to shoot in school and showing her how to actually do it. I just kind of like this scene between the two of them. I thought they had chemistry. I thought it was the highlight moment of Bella Ramsey for the episode 2 in this particular scene. So I enjoyed this scene personally.
Yeah. So this all happened. So it
I smell a rant, Joe. I smell a rant coming.
It's just, even though she does save his life in this moment, he gets mad at her in the game about it. Like, the fuck did you get a gun from? You nearly killed me. Kind of shit. Like, and it doesn't really play well either in the game, but so this is a different take on it.
What'd you think?
I don't know which take on this I liked better, but this felt good, but it removes a moment later, which is kind of touching.
Okay, and we'll hold true to that and see what Joe's talking about that when we get to it later.
Well, I don't think we will get to it because it can kind of happen, but it's not the same because he's already given her a gun.
I know we can't force them, but we got a lot of people saying, Joe, this is the perfect episode for one of your signature rants. They can't just happen. Unfortunately, as always, the Joe rant can't happen spontaneously. We can't force a Joe rant. Joe needs to talk about something in the episode that makes Joe mad. So
I could tell you this though, after this week's episode, if next week is
coming.
Much better than this. If it's only just like slightly better than this, that wouldn't be a good look for like not getting me ranty.
Right. I will say
this like my ratings have been good so far for this program.
Right. Even if you watch our Walking Dead, content, it took Joe almost a half a season, maybe a full season before he was I didn't really like this episode. It was like one night he got drunk, and that's when the Joe rant was born. It comes naturally. So we'll see if we get one tonight. We'll see. Johnny says, my only nitpick is if they manhandled that dude outside the wall the way he did. I don't know how he could get that 130-pound kid off of him and then destroy him. Just saying. Jet says, oh no, I'm new here. Does Joe rant? I want to see. Yes. I wish I could have a. Let me see if I can find one to play on command here. Let's see. Let's see if I can find a quick Joe rant.
Just show the still of my face for the.
Yeah. The Joe the Issues guy rant thing. But let's see. I'm probably gonna have to see a commercial of my own on my own fucking show. You know, of see my videos. Where's the videos? Let's see if I can pull out a Joe rant for you on command. But anyway, so let's continue here with. Oh yeah, this is a little quick Joe rant. Oh no, I have to watch a fucking commercial about lost dogs before I can play you this Joe rant.
That's hilarious. See, if anything, we need this show to be funded professionally so we can get an engineer to do this shit.
Yeah, this is a little question about who would win in a fight.
That's the thing. I'm Superman and you're Batman, and I lay one finger on you.
This is from
Invincible.
Invincible, thank you.
Yes, here we go. Let's continue.
Fucking forehead because I'm Superman and I can lift fucking buildings and all you are is Batman. The very beginning of the fucking Invincible show shows you exactly how stupid fucking Batman is, fighting alongside these fucking gods and titans and aliens of other fucking worlds and dimensions. Are you fucking kidding me? He can't even hold the goddamn, what was it, a car or a tank with his electronic little fucking limbs that start fucking crushing under the weight? Him and the girl are gonna fucking die. Thankfully he gets the girl out. Thankfully another fucking hero has to come over and save his goddamn fucking ass. Are you kidding me? Fuck Batman. Superman can fucking crush her. He's gonna piss. I'm gonna fucking piss from my goddamn fucking tower of the fucking cave of solitude and are so fucking far and so fucking fierce that it's gonna hit the fucking bat cave and crush the entire thing and drown every goddamn bat from floor to fucking ceiling. That's who Superman is.
If you have. Okay, so that's an example of a Joe rant.
Sorry, I lost it that night. Talking about Batman beating Superman in a fight. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. There you go. I know you're out on one that night, but in fairness, that's a good example of a Joe rant. My stammering Joe rant is my favorite. Okay, so anyways, he gives her back the gun. He coaches her on her grip, and he tells her not to put it in her back belt pocket because it will shoot her ass off. Again, I like that moment because it's a TV trope kind of thing where people put it in their back belt, and he's like, no, don't do that. It'll fucking shoot your ass off. And so she puts it in the pocket of her coat, though. And Kathleen's number one guy found something.
Oh my god. This whole exchange is kind of fucking.
Listen,
she just walks up. She's like, "I didn't find anything. No sign of him. How about you?" He's like,
Sonic. I do remember the Ivar rant being one of the worst ones too. There's also the Anthony Hopkins rant that exists somewhere. That I chose to bark back at his Anthony Hopkins rant, and that didn't end well. That was great. Well, I have to go. Have a good night, guys. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you, Heineken, for doing what you do and helping support the channel and help me continuing to do this, buddy. Thank you so much for becoming a channel member. Toast to you, my friend. Thank you so much. Okay, so if you want to watch a really awesome Batman vs Superman movie, watch World's Finest from the DC animated universe. Anyways, so Kathleen's number one guy found something. He takes her up into an attic.
Is it over in like 10 seconds?
The episode's almost over.
No. I mean, like the Batman versus Superman
no,
because Batman. That's the only way it's good. It's like Batman's. All right, Superman, I'm coming for you.
Batman's able to use.
I shoot you with my laser eyes from across the fucking.
He's not gonna do that. Oh,
I freeze you with my frost breath, and now you're fucking dead.
Shush.
Like, while you sleep at night in your fucking house, I blow a cold front in and you're dead.
I have a recent
come on.
I have a recent rant on a podcast a couple of weeks ago on Joe ranting about like Law and Order stuff saved that I might release. I might release Joe rants as shorts. I have to go back. Well, one day I have to chronicle.
There's got to be a lot of them.
There's years of it. There was somebody once, they stopped listening because I think they didn't want to do the project. But that was like listening to this, I was like, I'm going to go back and listen to all the old Joe rants and compile them into one big thing, and they like realized that there were too many. They didn't want to do that.
But, I mean, how many shows have we done? And they're all like 3-4 hours long.
Yeah. There's a lot of rants. If someone wanted to go back and catalog it all, it would be a lot. I'm thinking that's more something we do when we're in our 80s or some shit, you know?
Oof.
Go back for humor. But no.
Again, need an engineer.
Yeah, exactly. We had one, but he wanted to be a host too much. So anyways, but I'm trying to do it for this year. So this year so far we have one Joe rant. So at the end of the year, I want to sort of in our best of show at the end of the year, I want to play like a few Joe rants from the year. So we'll try to do that. But there's many rants over many years, pretty much for 5 seasons of The Walking Dead and 2 seasons of Vikings. There's a lot of them.
Oh, and then like 3 seasons of Game of Thrones.
David, if you're bored ever and you want to go back and cut together like 5 or 6 Joe rants and send them to me, we'd be very very happy. That'd be an awesome way to help the show. If anyone wants to go do that, cut some Joe rants together, put them together, and send them back to us. We will play it repeatedly on the show, and give you credit every fucking time. Okay, so they bring Kathleen up to the attic. I keep wanting to say this. I'm horrible. My number one guy. And I like this guy. He's awesome. I'm glad they get the voice actors to play bit parts in the show,
and not say a word.
And he said like one thing. He said one thing.
It'll sound too much like Tommy.
You see a bunch of Kansas spaghetti or Franco-American stuff, and she says, well, they're out here. They're out of food. And we're going to find them eventually. So we go after Joel and Ellie breaking in somewhere with hijinks, trying to find a rest for the night. They have to go up 46 flights of stairs, 44 flights of stairs. And they don't.
We're not going up that many.
No, they end up going 33 floors, and she's like, "Is that enough? And can you want to still go?" And she was tired too, but he's like, "Fuck you, you little shit. I'm 56 years old," and he scatters glass all over the place to wake him up if people are walking, which doesn't
Sonic, yes.
Which doesn't
Thank
fucking
you.
work.
Thank you.
As we know, everybody, of course, because Joe is always right?
Hey, it's hard. It's hard, but it's true.
It's a hard fact of life, but Joe is always right.
Except when I'm not.
Yeah. It doesn't happen. Karen Pierce, we got KP in the live motherfucking chat. I love you, KP. I do have issues, man. I got crazy issues. I got insane issues. I'm wacky you do. I'm whack-a-poo. I got shit in my poo-poo. It's true. Okay, corrections, but they aren't rants. They're truth talk. So speaking of truth talk, this time he's like, talks to her and he's like, tell me your story. And she's like, I don't want to talk about it. And he feels closer to her because she doesn't want to talk about her shit. He's like Tony Soprano. He doesn't really want to hear people's problems. He's like, it's not fair for you to like go through bad stuff and shit. And she's like, does it get easier when you get older? No. She calls him out on kind of being deaf on the right side of his ear, which I guess comes back in a second because he doesn't hear them coming.
Well, it's been a long fucking day. And the motherfucker just walked up 33 flights of stairs.
It's true.
First, you ever drove, 12 hours? He said he was going to drive the whole next day. So how many hours were they already on the road for before they got to Kansas City, right? So they get there. He's fucking tired. You have the adrenaline rush of shooting and killing and stabbing 3 fucking men, right? Then running for your life and climbing 33 flights of stairs. I don't care how much fucking glass you put on. You needed to fucking rig that door with a goddamn fucking air horn to wake that 56-year-old fuck up. Period.
Seriously, I'm younger than him, and I'm not waking up for that shit.
No fucking way. I'm getting fucking stabbed, murdered, and eaten before I wake up.
Glass. What is this fucking Die Hard? He was barefoot. He's not gonna cut their feet. And in fairness, he didn't wake up. He didn't wake up to Ellie yelling at him afterwards, like, wake up, wake up. And I was gonna say,
but also in fairness, who the fuck is climbing 36 floors looking for fucking Henry and fucking Chocho there, Sam?
I know,
right?
Amazing that they did though. Like they climbed up 33 floors to fucking find those dudes.
Well, Henry and Sam found them, and who knows if they were already up there in that building, and they just happened to pick the same floor, or maybe they heard them walk past a floor or some shit. Who knows? But really, fucking
Joel didn't hear shit coming. And Joel and
he's not gonna.
Joel and Ellie, as the same temperament, they missed the mark. What do you think about that, Joe? Are they playing Joel and Ellie too much the same? Like, because again, how I'm seeing it as someone that's not watching this, I agree with what Luna's saying. If I'm watching this, I'm saying they're connecting because they're the same person. They have similarities.
They do, and what you also got to understand on top of that, whatever she's already bringing into this relationship of her personality, she's also, what they say, 13, 14 years old.
Yep, stuff like that.
So Joel's a pretty cool guy as far as like what she's gonna see. Just like she goes down into Bill's bunker and she's like, fucking cool. Yeah, Joel's a bit of an asshole, but he's a smuggler and he's a badass and he's done some really fucked up shit. So she's gonna emulate a little bit of that as they get to know each other and travel a bit. Also, that's a common thing that people do to make other people like them without even knowing.
Yeah, it's true.
Start talking like groups of people. You start mannerisms the same. You do it in family groups. You'll make the same noises between sentences as a family member. You and the family member won't ever notice, but like The next door neighbors, they come over and talk. They hear you fucking do that same little fucking tick.
Over many years as friends, we definitely all do it as friends.
Yeah, like I don't know how many people come to me and tell me and my brother Ben don't necessarily look exactly alike, but because we act so much alike,
your physical, and I would add Larry and Martin to that mix. The four of you guys all
look exactly like Larry.
Yeah, but you also, all four of you have very similar body language.
Yep.
Like the way you guys move is all very similar, and the way you're a little bit more animated in your speech than the other three, but you still, like, all three, like you in normal life, like you all generally kind of talk in similar cadence too, like there's similarity between the way you guys tell jokes similar ways and stuff, that kind of shit, especially you and Larry. You and Larry especially have, like, tell jokes, and Larry could Joe rant. Like, if we got Larry, who's been on the show a couple of times too, when we talked Vikings, Larry can Joe rant a little bit.
And there's a lot to, I mean, that's family dynamic, and that's a lot closer and a lot more time and growing up.
Think about me, Craig, Alan, David, and Gotti, and my cousins Emily and Pete too. But like all of us are all there's. If you spent time with me, and then you spent time with Craig and Alan and David and got, like, you would be like, oh, they're like me. You would think they were like me.
Yeah, and so there's going to be some of that rubs off. So they are very similar, and she does look up to Joel from a certain point on.
And we've seen, and I think they've dictated that well on the show. Oh, we got speaking of good buddies, we got a good buddy.
Like if you remember, there's an incident coming up, any of the gamers, where Ellie is hurt by some shit, and she's not going to feel that way unless she hasn't really taken to this man. So,
and it seems like they're building that well on the show. We got our good buddy, the Madman Martz, in the live chat, who says the show is doing a lot better than Halo, for truth. And great to see you, Madman. Let's finish this episode off and then get to our voicemails that we have. And if you have any other last-minute voicemails, questions about anything, Last of Us, or anything else related at this point, you can call in 781-990-8509. But the end of this episode is we're here. This time he talks to her and he's like, tell me a story about yourself. And she's like, I don't want to talk about it. He's like, it's not fair for you to deal with this stuff. Does it get easy? She calls him on being kind of deaf in his right side. She tells him another pun joke about diarrhea that runs in your genes. He laughs and he loses it. And she's like, you motherfucker, you're actually laughing. And they have a breakdown laughing moment.
Which happens at every sleepover at some point, right?
It does. It does, that laughing, ridiculous moment.
It took them a few days, like a week to get there.
And I do feel like this felt like a genuine moment between two people. And then
that was a funny joke.
It was. And let's get to our poll right now as we just get 101 votes. We're going to end our poll for right now earlier than we usually do, but why not? Favorite pun of the night, of course, Jeans wins at 57%. Scarecrow 36%, and the envelope 5%. Funny joke, good stuff, good pun.
Wow, 5 people voted envelope.
Yeah, no, it was about 5 people. There's 100 people voting, about 5 people. It was maybe 6. I can't really do math. There's probably because 101, not 100. I don't know if it's like 5.12 people voted or something, whatever it is. Someone that's better at math than I can tell me exactly. That was what was good to having Matt on the show the other night. He just immediately said, oh, that many people voted this. That many people voted that. So she calls him out on being kind of deaf. Ellie, so we wake up the next morning. Ellie is up. She's being held at gunpoint. She wakes up Joel, and Joel doesn't wake up. She's like, wake up, wake up, wake up. It takes like 3 wake-ups. And he finally wakes up, and some dude has a gun in their face. And that's the end of our episode, Joe.
And a kid.
And tells him to be shh. And again, it was kind of quick.
Did they both have red stripes across their eyes?
In my memory, I only saw one person. Did Joel know the Scarecrow joke, or did he just figure it out? He knew it.
He knew it.
He heard it.
He had a kid.
It's like, why did the
chicken cross the road?
To get to the other side.
It was stapled to the monkey.
Oh no! Why did the chicken cross the road? Because Colonel Sanders was chasing him. Like, there's like every
knock.
Who's there?
I don't know any of these jokes.
Oh wait, there's the one. I used to know a couple of good knock knock jokes. Does anyone know a good knock knock joke? Say it in the live chat or call in and give us a knock knock joke. We
The
want.
orange and banana.
Oh yeah, orange. Aren't you glad I didn't say banana? That's the one. Yeah, but banana. Banana what?
Banana smoothie.
Aren't you glad I didn't say banana smoothie again? Ah! It's funny. It's comedy. Okay, we got
The episode was just starting at that point, Luna.
It was, and that's the thing. Like, even in my recap right there, I don't feel like I even know we're almost 2.5 hours in here. I don't feel like we've really started the recap. That's why we talked for an extra long time at the beginning, because the recap was extra short tonight because there wasn't much to it. There wasn't. I mean, I could have broken it down a little bit more. Like, Ellie says this to Joel, Joel says this to Ellie, but I don't want to talk dialogue. That's not really important.
Like we talked, already mentioned, like during the shootout, like that little bit where you see the guy bend over, like call out, "You asshole," or "Fuck, I'm gonna kill you," and bends over his friend, and then you see them both scuttle to new areas to go shoot from. Like that shit's like right out of it. Felt like it was right out of the game, but like. There really isn't too much to talk about. I mean, we could shit on Kathleen a little bit more.
Yeah, we could. Oh, Joe, I have some good puns for you. My sister thinks she's smart. She says onions are the only food that make you cry. So I threw a coconut at her.
Yes.
I've just been fired from the clockmaking factory after all those extra hours I put in.
No, she has like a quite a big few of them that she goes through in the game, and you get a trophy if you listen to them all.
Joe, rest in peace, boiling water. You will be missed.
That
was bad.
None of them as good as the diarrhea running in your fucking.
That's so bad. Oh my god. Why doesn't the sun go to college? Because it has 1,000,000 degrees. Oh no. Oh, this is horrible. Okay. Jackie says the only saving grace, the score, the acting, the crew's work, and I will also add the cinematography of this episode was really awesome, and some of the music was too. I think they handled the scope really well. I think even the writing and the dialogue was really well. I just think how they slated and plotted out the season on this one was not the best choice. I think I'll wait till on Friday and see what happens on Friday, but I just think we could have combined probably this episode and the next episode into one action-packed episode and had it be a little longer, but because we're not HBO at this point.
Yes, John.
I fell into Len's grinder and made a spectacle of myself. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we got a few voicemails, Joe, so let's get to these. If anyone else wants to call in, 781-990-8509.
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming. Where does a dog who lost his tail go? A retail store. What is the best thing about living in Switzerland? Well, the flag is a big plus. What? What did the grape say when it got crushed? Nothing. It just let out a little wine.
Jon Snow go to the Apple store for the watch.
I actually like that one. That's really good. What did the hooked potato say to the pimp? I don't know. Shorty. Idaho. Sorry. Either I read it right, but I didn't say right. Okay, let's break this up for a second with David.
Hi, Phil. Hi, Joe. It's the voice of 213.
Oh, stop.
What I was going to say was...
Stop it.
I feel like what's happening with a lot of these shows, with these adaptations, is they feel as though the source material has the entire story like laid out for them, so they don't really have to try. But in an attempt to try, they end up changing things that they shouldn't have changed and keeping things that they should have changed, if that makes any sense. So they're really focused on, okay, we're going to make sure that the T-shirt is down to a T, but the dialogue is weird. We're going to make sure that the song plays on the radio that's in the game, but there's just awkward discussions and the episode doesn't really go anywhere. we're going to find an actor who looks exactly like that person from the game, but can't act their way out of a box. So it's just, they are, I don't know, they're kind of putting the cart a little bit ahead of the horse and acting as if, oh, if we just pepper in enough of these game references, that'll like lead us to the finish line. But here's the thing, is that the game in and of itself is like a movie. The cutscenes are as good as any movie that is written out there. It's the same thing with the Walking Dead Telltale games. Even though I haven't played them, I've seen some of the gameplay. They're beautifully told stories. So what they need to focus on, if they don't do it for the rest of this season, if they don't get their act back together, next season, they need to focus entirely on the story progression and the beats and hitting all of those amazing things that are in the game, because that's all that people really want to see. They really want the good storytelling. Of course, you know, they want to see some of the action stuff, but you will stay if there is truly captivating story. Yep. Okay? It's like season 2 of The Walking Dead. You know, during the writer's strike and everything, everybody thought that it was an extremely boring season, but once we got to like season 7 and 8 and we had all this stupid action fluff where nobody fucking died, we all wish that we could go back to season 2 of The Walking Dead and get some of that good character development and conversation. Now, yeah, we got some character development, I guess, but it really wasn't character development as much as just the characters existing around each other more. But we don't really have time for that. So if we're not really developing things, if we're not seeing a change outside of Ellie hurting somebody for the first or second time, then we've got problems, okay? And we need to work on that.
Fair points by David there. David makes a lot of really good points, not just even about The Last of Us, just about representations of other properties just in general. Yeah. And I think in general, we need to focus on character and story first and foremost, because if people are engaged in those things, they're accepting of a lot of things. And I think, Joe, you've talked about this a lot, even though we're harder on tonight's episode than we've been on the first 3. Change is not the issue for you. It's that tonight's episode had some of those unfortunate tropes and issues that we've seen in other shows.
So many. That
fall into the trap that we shit on. So it's hard not to call this show out on it, doing it tonight too.
Correct. That whole Kathleen thing you've seen in a million.
I'm not just calling her Negan to be funny. It was very Negan-ish.
Yeah, we've seen it in a million things, in a million different types of shows. It wasn't even written any different in like it was. You can't not call it out.
It was poor. What John Haymaker? What happens if you don't pay your exorcist? You get repossessed.
Yeah.
What Mad Sinister? Where does the king keep his armies? Up his sleeves. Studio 11 says, hey, Phil, Joe. Those of us that played the game, we know it's going to get crazy. Glad we have Joel and Ellie calm moment before it goes to hell. Calm before the storm. But do you think, are we going to look back on this, Joe, and be like, is this beneficial for what's to come later?
Hoping, but I don't really necessarily see that.
Because the problems with tonight's episode aren't necessarily about it being slow, it's about performance and choices.
Yeah.
Let's get to our next voicemail. This is area code 773, Joe. Let's see.
Hey, Phil, it's me. I had a question. Sorry, I just saw the Vince Gilligan comment you put. Anyway, I wanted to... what did I want to say? I forgot what I wanted to say. On the tip of my tongue, it's right there, and I can't think it.
Motherfucker.
Oh, well, I guess I could just say, thanks for being you. You are awesome. And I love you, and I love your show. And I love you in that order.
Thank you. You.
The Vince Gilligan shit threw him off.
It threw him off. He had something interesting to say, and he totally got thrown off by our
previous caller.
Our shit show, Joe. Okay, 516. Here we go.
Hey, Anthony from New York again. Listening a little bit to the episode that you guys are recording, a little bit behind, but thinking more on the episode of The Last of Us tonight. I think I don't think they needed to sort of dive into the psychology or the motivations behind the group in Kansas City, because potentially that could be explored. I think it's more tense and interesting.
Fuck yes. We're going to play the rest of your goddamn message, but fuck, Joe's been ranting about this all night. 100%. We don't need, sometimes less is more. And if you know less about the characters that are coming after you, it can be more interesting and more horrifying and take advantage of things feeling horrifying. So far, this feels like, again, to bring a game reference to this feels like an open world game with not a lot of shit going on. And when the shit's going on, and now it seems like the first people that we're seeing, it's a very cheesy Walking Dead kind of situation that we bumped into tonight.
Yes, it really was.
And again, this isn't about the production of the show, the dialogue, or the writing, or any of those things. It's the choice of this created thing for tonight that I wouldn't have known is in the show or not in the show. I would have said that I didn't necessarily like the setup tonight. I didn't think it was as effective as it could have been, or as effective as it's been the couple weeks. And yes, as I get drunker and as we go farther, we're being harder on this episode, but it's fun. We're having fun. No, I just said that Vince Gilligan could do everything better. That when people suggested D&D, that I said, oh, we could pick Vince Gilligan. That's who we should pick. I think that was the situation I did. But I think that's all of our callers tonight. You guys are fucking amazing. Joe, I mean, there's not much else we can say about this episode, right?
Have a Coke and a smile.
And shut the fuck up, motherfucker. So let's get to a couple more epic puns before we can do this. Ladies, if you can't appreciate your fruit jokes, you need to let that man go. Mango, get it? Mango? I don't trust the stairs because they're always up to something, Joe.
Yeah, but you don't trust the elevator either because it'll always let you down.
And it's always up and down. Yeah, it's always up and down. So what if I don't know what the apocalypse means? It's not the end of the world. Yeah, that's bad. Long fairy tales have a tendency to dragon. That's bad. I made a pun about the wind, but it blows. What do they call a thieving alligator? A crocodile. Crocodile.
No poetic license to it.
No, that sucked. Why do cows go to New York? To see the musicals. Musicals.
Again, no. Not good. Not good if you have to change the word around. Not good.
What do you call a sleeping...
That's not a pun. That's a bastardization of the English language.
That just sucks. What do you call a sleeping bull? A bulldozer.
What do you call a polar bear?
A polar bear?
What do you call a dead polar bear?
I don't know. What do you?
Anything you want, the fucker's dead.
It doesn't fucking matter. It's fucking dead. What happens when a frog's car's brakes go down? It gets toads away. It gets its toads away. That's Stop it. Aim for the stars, but first take care of the bodyguards. Have you heard about the Italian cook with an incurable disease? He pasta away. Oh, God. A man sued an airline after it lost his luggage. Sadly, he lost his case. Okay, that one's good. Once you contract an infection of the bladder, you're in for trouble. And last but not least, why did the elf go to the podiatrist? Because he had mistletoe. Oh, yeah, we know that. Okay, yeah. Oh, my goodness. It's bad. I like the apocalypse joke. Chuck Norris peed in a semi-gas tank. The semi is now called Optimus Prime. Why can you sever but not eat? What can you sever but not eat? A tennis ball. I like those old Rick and Carl bad dad jokes. If she doesn't get your Star Wars pun, then you're looking for love in Alderaan places. Alderaan places. I used to be addicted to soap, but I'm clean now. Oh. Okay, I'm glad that this stream has gotten to the point and that this episode of The Last of Us has led us to this point to just be repeating and ridiculifying lots of useless puns tonight. So
but that's all this episode was.
Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. This was an episode of banter, Joe. You know, it was an episode that was featured about the banter, about the dynamic between the two of them. It's important for the textural aspect of the characters of Ellie and Joel.
Made for one boring ass fucking episode.
It wasn't the best episode. I would say if we're ranking this, we've ranked all our episodes. I would say for me, this one was 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
You going with 6 too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's have some 6 tonight. Joe and I are going to have some 6 tonight.
Yep.
What gets wet as it dries? A towel. I'm addicted to brake fluid, but I can stop at any time. You guys are killing it tonight. You guys are fucking killing it tonight. But no rants tonight. But I would say that the rant is coming if we don't get a better episode next week, which we will possibly. I got to double check on this, but according to everyone in the live motherfucking chat, and I don't think you guys are going to lie to me. Let me turn down that. I don't think you guys are going to lie to us. The episode looks like it's going to be airing on Friday to avoid the Super Bowl confusion. So Joe and I will be on Friday evening talking about the episode. Dear Math, grow up and solve your own problems. Sonic Your Boy says 8 out of 10. Igor says 6 out of 10. Luna says 5.33. Laura says 6. Curl.
Yeah, definitely a 6.
Everyone, you guys have been amazing tonight. Thank you. We had, again, over close to 100 or almost over 100 people here tonight. We appreciate all of you guys.
Every single one of you.
Yeah, every single one of you guys that chose to join us tonight. We know there's a lot of choices for your after shows. We appreciate you guys staying with us. So we'll be on this Friday after the episode, and then the following week back on Sundays to talk about the second half of the season of The Last of Us, Joe. If we do a group rant, it might be better. Yes, Friday. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed you guys. And we love you guys. We'll talk to you guys next time. Justin Quarantine's like, no, don't stop this shit. I know. We've really, like, underdone this tonight, or we've been on, like, 3 hours and 45 minutes. We suck tonight. And Joe's been on the whole time tonight, too. Joe didn't even show up late tonight. He didn't do his fashionable late shit. But we'll be on next week. We'll be on a Friday night, and then we'll be on every week on Sunday. And we'll try to find an excuse. Maybe I'll try to get Joe to get back to what we were doing before, when we come over once every 2 months to watch a movie live and stream it live. We used to do that back in the Salem days. And maybe I don't know. Remember we like shook a ball. We like shook something and figured it out. Yeah, pulled one out of the hat or something.
Yeah, we have to do that again.
But yeah, we'll be on next week, or actually this week. We'll actually be on this week.
This week.
That's okay. Toast to all of you motherfuckers. 1 second.